pretty good. You got mine.
Say hi, Internet.
We're talking about how we're old and want new knees.
That's right.
That's right.
What if just both discounts? We can do it all at once.
Oh, we can get on a Kickstarter like we did this.
Yeah. Do a Groupon.
Groupon
For
knee replacements.
That's like the most old person thing you could possibly do.
That's pretty fucking bad.
One of the guys on my team just had a hip replaced, so I think he's good as me.
So wait, why were you in a basement?
So I was attending a Butler Cafe event,
Nice.
which was very fun, and I liked it a lot. And we,
There's so much side eye. Right.
it was awkward because I was alone, but I'm glad that I went because it donated to charity. And anyhow, so I walked back to the parking garage. Or no, let's start again. I got to the parking garage. It's like a roof parking. And so there's a little booth at the front that says, "Pay attendant. If no attendant, get a ticket. Pay later." And I was like, there's no machine here. And there's no bar, so I'm just going to go and hope I find a machine. No machine on the roof. There's another guy wandering around asking me if I know where the machine to pay is, and I was like, nope, never been here. Well, princess, maybe downstairs. I didn't find it going downstairs, and the elevator, because I was wearing very, very uncomfortable shoes, so I took the elevator.
What shoes you wear?
Yours.
You were very tall.
You want my witch boots?
Looked like hooves.
You want my witch boots?
Yeah. What were those?
They're very comfortable for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because you have hoops.
It was.
I probably shouldn't have left.
I know that's not accurate. I see those flats you wear every day.
It was well, they're just used to your feet, and that's where they're hoops. So that's fine at first, and then when I walked all the way to the thing
She got new ones every
through
day.
the Central Park, then it was not comfortable anymore. But so I go down the elevator, and it takes forever to go one floor down, and it lets me out into the back end of a Chinese restaurant. And the elevator is carpeted as well, and I was just like, this is like old carpet, and I was just like, this is weird. Okay.
Did the elevator have mirrors in it? I hate when they have
No,
mirrors in it.
no, it was just white, very dirty, ugly walls. I was like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm in the back of this Chinese restaurant, and I was just like I could see the kitchen, and there's like boxes of food and stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay. And the door to get out was like right next to me, so I was like, I guess this is just where this elevator goes. Cool. And so I do my event thing. It was a lot of fun. And everyone put a lot of hard work into it. It was very good. And so I go back to the elevator, very much in pain at this point because I had to walk all the way back to the park and the hills and across the street. And I got in the elevator, and it didn't make any noise at first. It took forever to get there and open, and then it wasn't making any noise. And I pressed the door open, nothing happened. And I was just like, okay, and I'm pressing like the roof level. And finally I hear it move, but it's so slow that I can't tell really what it's doing. And so then it stops making noise. And I wait for a while, and the doors aren't opening. And I was just like,
Oh boy.
and I looked, and there's like the
This
call
is what
for-
you get for you and Lena's laughing at me about being stuck in front of an elevator.
It didn't spontaneously combust, so he's still laughing about it.
Wow.
And so,
We're just laughing, huh?
Tell us that story next week.
so I press the door open, and the door opens, and I'm in the basement of the restaurant. And it's dark, and there was just one room. There's nobody in it, and a stairway, and there's more boxes, and boxes blocking the stairway. And the door shuts again, like really fast, and I was like,
Just as good.
okay. I pressed the roof button again several times. Nothing happened. Nothing moved. And I just waited. I was like, I don't know if I'm stuck. I don't think I should press the call for help button. And I press the door open again, and it opens and immediately starts shutting, and I like jumped through it. And then I went up the stairs, and there are two doors. They both say no trespassing, employees only. And they're both stacked, like boxes are stacked in front of them. Like nobody uses this. I was just like, oh. Which door do I pick? And so I picked the one on
The one that always tells the truth.
Yeah, it seemed like, okay, if I'm on the floor here, then that way. And then I was back on the elevator level. Luckily, it was open. And I was just like, fuck, it's up there. And I went out and googled the stupid stairs and ventilated in the car for a little bit. And then I left, and there was no attendant still, and there was no ticket. It's like,
And next time you come back, you go back there, it's like the building's just not there anymore.
I think so.
It's gonna be gone.
Right. Also, nobody. Whatever.
Probably happens all the time.
I would imagine
Just the
so.
face. Like, I want to tell somebody that their elevator is haunted, but I don't know who to call for this. I don't even know what building that was. Because it was a very
You
long.
know who to call.
I do know.
Yes.
All right.
It was a Ghostbusters joke, Lisa.
Nice.
Wow.
That was a time bomb.
Put on your paper.
She's good. She's got it. She's holding it together.
Napkin.
I need a tissue. I can't breathe through my nose. Why are you trying to kill me?
Because this is what we do. If it's, oh, is that what it wanted? No, I don't want to do that. Rabbit, rabbit. Okay.
Should be put hair in my car. Currently.
I only noticed it because I parked like dirt on the line, and so the white contrast black tire, I could see it like sandwiching out under the hood. I guess it's definitely not.
Someone say sandwich? What?
Everybody thinks.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So?
Like SpongeBob up in here. What's up?
Was it boring already?
You know, when you do it with that upward inflection, people don't believe you.
Oh, we got accosted by 8 men in brown leather cloaks. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, hot.
That's right.
We're surrounded.
Oh no.
You
How
want
will I
us to
ever
hand
do
over
that?
the package? I'm the package. Apparently.
I will hand them a package.
I don't know. She gave us a thing to take to the restaurant. Oh,
Started
right.
doing my
I'm not the
dishes.
package.
Not this time.
For once, you're
this
not the
time.
cat kid. Well, you might be. You don't know.
I don't
That
know.
was my nickname in college.
I believe it. Okay, we gotta go to the restaurant.
Well, yeah, who has the thing? Who has the container?
She does. It's me because I have the rucksack.
Oh, right.
Yes, her big.
With the jar on top of it, probably.
Well, like 8 jars.
Sick.
So the package, okay, it's wrapped in fabric and it's flat and small. It's not
Did we
very
ask if it was
packaged at all.
fragile? Would it survive being
I don't recall
smushed by
anybody asking any questions. She was in even before.
No, we
The
know
mission
that.
was
Yes,
described.
that part we don't
I was like,
forget.
yep, we're doing this.
Hashtag
No,
don't
because it
forget.
said simple delivery. We believed that. somehow.
Hashtag don't let Ivania. What variation of
Genya.
sure.
Ivania? You mix them together. That's
Sorry.
Evine. That's Genya.
And Vanya.
Ivana.
No, from
Oh.
that part.
And Iberia.
Because I ran that recently. Yeah, look.
Lilia.
And
Iria?
area. So I'm the monster.
No, I
Clearly, he's got a type.
Yeah, I'm the asshole.
Yeah. Okay. Let's all point that finger. Okay.
So at least some Frankenstein monster of characters just numbers into the sea.
The slash cannon has come to take revenge.
Oh my.
We should have known when Hitler and Robin Hood walked by.
You would not take that lying down.
One of these days we'll play a game. It's gonna be great. Where are you going? Oh my god.
She's sneaky. She comes in and out of fun.
Might as well be in Indiana still.
I
I don't know. What fucking, they're all the same fucking states.
I mean, I can sometimes do that
From
way.
like Pennsylvania to Utah, it's all just.
What the?
Actually, no. I think I would
I've
know
been to several
Wyoming.
of them, and I can attest to at least
pretty
part of
close.
that.
We
Not
drove
when I
cross
drove
country.
through them.
they are their own grandpa.
There's
I've
a
been
lot.
to Wisconsin.
No, I would probably remember if it was like one of those big sky states that.
Yeah.
I drove through
Sorry, Midwest.
Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And yeah, it mostly looks the same.
I appreciate your industry.
Yeah.
What industry?
You know, just being industrious.
Wisconsin is
They had industry at
You
one
do
point.
what you can.
Yeah,
Hey,
now they're
you
just
know,
gonna be triggered when you say that.
And hey, you know, whatever.
I've been to Michigan in the winter.
Oh yeah,
It was a frozen hell state.
that's right.
Also from Detroit once in the summer. It was just a hell state in general.
I remember when I visited Wisconsin and the shore of Lake Michigan was called a beach.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Have I ever told the story of how my sister didn't recognize Lake Michigan on a map?
No, but I'm not surprised.
We were in Chicago. It was a map of Chicago.
And it probably said where the blue squigglies were, where the blue thing.
Well, because the Lake Michigan is giant.
Yeah, it's a
Because
big
it's
blue wet
huge.
thing.
So we're in Chicago. We're with one of my mom's friends who lived there, and we had gone out to Oak Park to go look at all the Frank Lloyd Wright houses, because there's like a whole neighborhood where he designed a bunch of houses and they're all there. Like a couple of them you actually get to go inside.
Ooh.
And do a tour of them. It was really cool. And then we were trying to get somewhere specific, and I don't remember where we were trying to get. But we made a wrong turn somewhere, and we were kind of lost, but not really. And my mom's friend was like, well, if we just get back to the lake, I can navigate away from the lake really easily.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had handed the map to my sister, because this was back in like 2002, so GPS wasn't super a thing yet.
Yeah.
We
Maybe
still
I should
had
have
to
used the straw. Then all the drags wouldn't be at the bottom.
They're all them balls. No.
There are no balls.
But
This is right.
yeah, someone had given the map to my sister, which I don't know whose idea that was.
Good idea.
But she's looking at the map and she goes, "What lake? I don't see a lake on this map."
Oh,
And I was like, "What do you think that giant blue thing in the middle is?" And she just goes, "The ocean."
oh no.
And I was like, "Sissy, we're in Illinois. It's like Michigan.
Landlocked.
Yeah." And that's what my mom's friend who was driving was like, "Honey, we're landlocked."
Anybody
My
wants some washi tape?
Ooh.
My aunt gave me this giant bag.
And my sister was just
Yeah.
like, "Well, where I come from,
Look
if it's
at it.
blue and it's that big, then it's the ocean." It's like, "Yeah, we're not in fucking California, Maria."
If there's like a metallic gold in there.
Yeah.
What did she
I'd
think the
like
plane ride was?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe she was sleeping the whole time.
She sleeps through life shit.
Yeah, I mean, I know how I feel about that. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we.
Like these ones? Or do you want them to be fully? This one says these two. There's this one also. Ooh, it's got feathers.
I got all the gold ones. We'll go through them.
So we're surrounded
That's right.
by 8 men.
Yes.
Anna is really freaked out by Jenny because she turned into a crow farmer.
Yeah.
That's right.
And And then it was like, what? You can't do things too?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you don't want to know what I do.
Yeah, it was sort of a weird day yesterday.
Wait, just then?
When Xavier was driving us back,
I remember that.
I was like, I don't trust that fucker.
She turned to a bird, and then she
But not
turned back.
currently, you're a bird.
No, I'm back.
Okay.
Because I'm carrying the package.
No, but now I'm
Then why
scared.
would you talk about it?
To remind that she's scared of me.
Yeah, no, she's
She knows.
She thinks I'm possessing the clown.
she has a she has reservations since that moment because that information was not disclosed. That she's surrounded by wizards and doesn't know.
I think she's the only one that isn't reserved, so it's fine.
I think you're the only one that's not a wizard this time. It's like
No, I
reverse
am.
Dresden.
No, it's okay. I have magic too. I just don't need it. I haven't needed it yet.
I don't have magic. I'm totally normal.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say it won't.
I haven't actually used mine yet.
We might have thought you did if we didn't know.
She's
No.
alchemy.
Okay, use that.
I use one of my alchemy things,
Yeah.
but the thing about them is that they don't always do what I want them to, and sometimes they explode because I'm bad at alchemy.
But I mean, like, did we know you did alchemy? I don't.
No.
I mean, you saw
We
me.
do now.
I pulled a thing off my belt, so you would have seen that it was
She
a
threw
thing.
something at a guy, and then his head caught fire.
I remember the head
Like
catch
hard.
fire. I
Yeah.
just couldn't remember
Yeah.
fully why.
Then he was a member of the Prophet Sword, so that caused a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
You know,
That
You
wasn't
guys-
the plan. The
that
plan
was
was
your
to
first-
not make his head explode.
that was your first adventure together, and you killed a cop. So that's
You meant to kill the guy. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
A little over a bit.
I would have tried it.
that's basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah. Cop killer.
By mistake.
Does this mean I
but-
get like a special tattoo now?
Yeah.
A teardrop.
No, you get at least 3 stars out of the 5, and then
Yeah.
we have to like hang out for a while until they
Right.
drop back
So
down
they
to
drop
1.
back down so the National Guard doesn't get called on us.
That's right.
Yes.
I got too many stars.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto.
Sorry, John.
No?
It'll happen eventually.
It's good to have all you guys back. It's good to have Amanda outside the box.
Woo!
Now that she said things, so it's fine.
I can see all the
There's a
stupid faces she
squiggly
makes
hole
while she's
right
being
there.
quiet.
That's right.
It's
It's
like
a big,
blue.
it's a lot of
Yeah.
information that we were missing normally.
More coal thing.
But yes,
And a
so
lot less flushing.
you agreed to carry a package to.
You store up this science.
That's right.
Right.
That Restaurante Salazar is where the legitimate grande for this Granducato holds court at that table. Most of the power that she has been sort of cold because they're always worried about Odiseo going independent. So that was sort of their way to keep that contained, is remove a lot of power. But she is usually meeting foreign dignitaries out of that restaurant, because one of the things that she still has is foreign affairs, which is worrying a lot of people because she also meets suitors. She's not married yet, even though she's middle-aged, and she's meeting suitors from all of those weird places that
All those weird places.
the Inquisition does not approve of, like Ifri and the Crescent Empire, and they're like, what if they ally with these heathens? That will not fly. So, but yeah, you don't know exactly what you're carrying, and at this point,
This
you
seems to be
are-
a theme with us.
you are surrounded by 8 folks wearing no crests, wearing high-collared cloaks, and one of them trained a pistol in the guys and asked you to hand over the package.
And they have no discernible devices. Like we have no idea who they're technically affiliated with.
They have no
Yeah, they're just wearing brown or something.
no crests, no coat of arms, very nondescript.
Around it?
Yes.
5 up front, 3 in the back.
Like, we're like in an alley.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they said just to hand over the package.
That's right.
And I think one of us tried to talk at them, and they're like, you know what we're talking about, right?
I don't think so. I think that's where we stopped.
No, we
Yeah,
saw
that's-
it.
We haven't made any sort of
And I'd
attempts
just
at
be like, oh,
interacting.
no.
It's bulky, but I can see the gear.
Right.
It fits in the
I look-
thing at the gate. I mean,
I
I
look
have to give
over.
me a second to take off my belt.
Yeah, I was about to say I started doing my britches. So there's like one of them stepped forward a bit, who's
Yeah.
like, who's obviously the leader.
Yes.
I sort of like lean forward just a little, and I look at, like, try and like get the measure of him, and I look over at the side of the alley, and sort of like do this motion, and do this motion to him. And I sort of kick a few rocks over to be like, you will be there, or you can let us pass.
Stop wasting time. Give us what we want.
You're welcome. I just punch him in the face.
Perfect. All right.
Yay!
Hostilities are
how
now
we rolled the thing?
open. Well, so
How we
here's
roll initiative?
and this is how we are going to be at a loss here because there's no real way to roll initiative.
So I'd like to invoke. So I believe that invokes the hero hubris.
Yes.
Foolhardy.
Yes. Absolutely. Get a hero point for that.
Oh, nice.
Because pistols, just to go with rules there. So if you look at your death spiral, where you
Yes.
track wounds,
Yes.
every time you get wounded, you fill one of those bubbles.
Right.
If you hit one of those stars, this becomes a dramatic wound. So
Right.
if you watch any sort of swashbuckler movie, when you get a dramatic wound, you're now more at risk. You're also somehow more awesome.
Right.
So you get bonus dice on your actions because now you're badass and wounded.
Right.
But other people also get extra dice on all of your risks to try to take you down. Pistols inflict an automatic dramatic wound if they
Oh,
hit.
sick. This is happening.
Pistols are so yes, you earned your foolhardy in the face of danger for punching a guy who hasn't been trained on you. So the way initiative works in this game is that what you have to decide at this point is what your approach is going to be. So what your action is going to be in this turn. And that can be anything, right? Like social, an attack, doing something else to run interference. You have to describe what you're going to do in this round, and this is going to become what you roll. We pool all of these actions together, and then the person who has the most raises goes first, second goes second, so on and so forth.
okay.
So there's no initiative per se, it's all your main action that determines how fast you can do this stuff. So if you do something that you're good at, chances are you're going to roll more raises, you can do that faster. If it's stuff that you're less good at, chances are going to be near the bottom. And once it's time to take your action, you don't have to allocate all of your raises to that same action. If you want to keep yourself a raise to use later in the round to get out of the way of an attack or something like that, you can do that as well. So you're basically allocating your raises as you see fit.
Okay.
So your action is firmly declared.
So
you
yes.
take a swing.
So yeah. So what I want to happen is for me to clock this guy, and then use the hero point to activate stare down and
Okay.
just glare at the dudes behind him.
Okay. Okay. So obviously your risk is that you risk taking a dramatic wound if it doesn't work. But you do have an opportunity to get the rest of the squad to seize up if you get 2 raises on that action.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yes. Yes. All right. So let me. Okay. So
Like,
yeah.
like while he counts that,
Yeah.
you're pretty much going around, and what actions will you take?
Humana's gonna draw her sword,
Okay.
prepare for battle.
Okay. You doing anything specific, or you just holding ground?
She's gonna be facing the guys that are behind us,
Okay.
and if any of them try to make a move, she'll be there,
Okay.
sword drawn.
So why don't you roll? You're getting ready to take an attack if they make a move.
Mhm.
So do an attack roll, which would be Dex plus weapons, I believe.
So finesse plus.
Finesse.
Weaponry. Yes.
I said Dex because D&D so hard to share.
2,
So is it
3, 4.
totals of 10, or do you have to group up dice?
You group up dice.
Okay.
To make as many tens as you can.
Yeah. No. I've got 2, but not quite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here. Oh. Take that.
Sees Rethel just like boom, and she goes, fight! And
It's
she,
on.
yeah, she just claps her hands
Of
together,
course,
and
because that's
then
the opposite of what I'm actually trying to do.
yeah, like
Ah,
I want to fight too. And she claps her hands together really hard,
I
puts
was
her
trying
fists together, and
to
just
de-escalate through intimidation,
fucking launches in.
but no.
All right.
Bar fight!
All right.
Without the
Alright.
So
bar.
you're going for a punch as well.
Yes.
So let's go with a brawn.
Brawn plus roll.
That's right.
I'm guessing.
Yes, we're doing this.
Alright, so that's.
Evine.
I'd like to activate a collaborator.
Oh,
Hell
there
yeah.
it is.
So
Wizards.
if I roll a 10, I can roll it again.
No, it just counts as
no.
attack.
It's one of those
fine.
ones.
Not necessary.
Okay.
So with special stuff, you'll get explosion
Yeah.
cannons.
See.
But it's a 1 die raise, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what my
He's
glamour
always
does,
screaming at it work
I
when I
can't
look
do
at
damage
the
magic yet,
bookstore.
Nice.
but with full med luck, and
I don't know
I
why.
have 4 dots in it.
That's fun to know. Makes sense.
Yes. And that will add, and I can distribute the 4 to other heroes. So I'd like to give
Oh,
one
okay.
die to each.
To each. Perfect.
And
Everybody gets a die?
Yeah, you get an extra die. So feel free to
for the rest
roll an
of-
extra die.
Yeah.
3!
For the rest of the
That's
scene-
perfect.
For the rest of the scene, that hero always adds that die to every risk.
Is there a roll for that?
It just says you get to roll number of dice equal to your rank, and you may pass these dice. So does that mean I roll them and then pass the values
Yes.
to everybody? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Delete that thing.
So you will
I'm
roll
gonna
that,
do any of these.
Yep.
and then still count those raises because that will determine when your action goes into
If you
queue.
only roll a 1, I'll take it.
Good. That's fair.
Now 17.
I'm like that guy that shows up after he's done with the mission. It's like, you need help, guys? I'm here.
Only I was playing some sort of thing where that mattered. I had 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got 2 ratings,
Okay.
and I get to give these values to people.
Yeah, so the
The most-
individual values. Lisa, how many
I got
raises do you have?
2.
You got 2 as well?
What are we doing? What happened?
I'm just
So
tallying how
she-
many raises
She
people have.
has mojo that she can hand out.
Oh, okay.
So depending on how close you are to another raise or what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you might want to ask for some help. Oh, hell no, you're fine. Give me one
Yeah.
of those. Give me the lowest one. Give me that 4, I guess.
Just so you remember.
Thank you.
So I have.
Wham! 3.
I think I'm gonna
Perfect.
give you the 5 because you're good at things. I'm not saying other
Does that
people
push you
aren't,
up?
but
I have an 8 now.
Didn't you have a 7?
I do. I have a 6 and 7.
You have a 7. So that it bumps her up one more.
There you go.
And then if
Now you have 3.
Yes.
I have 3 10s and a 12. So
I like how
She's-
Amanda's over
she's
here.
solid.
just
because I'm
fucking
good.
Trick or treating.
so unless she drops
Well,
that
so
many
do
more.
you.
Oh.
That. And then
Is
you
that
give
my
me the
axe?
6. And that will be like for, you keep adding that to your rolls the whole time.
Okay, yeah. So I
The
will
whole
do that.
scene or the whole battle?
The whole
The whole
scene.
scene.
We'll see.
So we have to roll again.
That
and
die
if
is
it's
locked.
Then we can add
That
it in.
denomination.
Yes. I will keep that right here. And we'll remember that it's yours. And now we all have to We're super sweet.
Guys, I'm gonna buy Jesse's dice.
And other than-
you gotta have an excuse to buy dice for her.
Yep.
Anyway.
Other than that,
No,
I'm
I was asking.
trying to
for
blend
one
into the
for
wall.
Christmas.
Okay. So you technically have 2 raises, so one of those extra raises you can keep as a backup action, goes away in the end of the turn. But...
Yeah.
Okay. Allie?
I pull out a knitting needle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I think she start yanking things.
I know, I'm just pulling out a knitting needle. You don't know what I'm doing with it.
Okay, alright.
You don't know me.
Rethel doesn't know.
No, that's right. You're gonna have.
What do you actually, like, do you roll anything to use to Sarah? Because I don't think so.
I'll practice after read it. And
Just
I got no
like,
crystal ball.
it says using a read causes a raise during action sequences.
Spent it all.
But it doesn't say that any of these other things use a
No, she could like
roll.
date rape.
So what am
Okay.
I supposed to do?
Right.
Well, what other actions are you gonna do?
It's so catchy though.
Well, I guess my
She's
action is going
Typically,
to,
like
I
the
mean,
part where he says,
where am I
got
compared to other
something
people at this
yeah.
point?
You're sort of in the back.
So I'm not
So she was covering you.
Oh.
She's been mama bearing you.
Okay. And wait, so now there's 3 in the back. if
There's
I'm
3 in the
not-
back, which Jimena has started to take like a step towards and drew her sword.
Alright.
I think we've established this, but because of her family,
I mean,
the mom
basically
actually
gonna.
is a party girl.
I'm just gonna stab someone, I guess.
Okay.
When there's drinks involved.
So
Or
weaponry
just called
plus.
catty bitches.
Roll finesse plus
They're mostly
weaponry.
catty bitches. We don't really actually hang out with them anymore. The most put together level-headed of all of them is my uncle.
I got 2.
Because all
You have
3
two?
of my
Yeah.
mom and her sisters are exactly like my grandma.
2 raises. I don't know what happens with them after that, but
Plus
If
the
I
one she
have-
gave you?
oh, does that count as a whole raise?
No, but
No.
it counts. But you
It
can
counts
use
as
it
a
to
die.
count
You
towards it.
can add it.
Yeah, so I've got 2.
Okay.
With that.
Okay.
I didn't roll that many dice.
All right. Jimena. It's all you first.
And what do you need? Flourish.
So you're
She's got her hand behind her back. She's in stance.
okay. So you're getting ready. If any of them step up,
Yeah.
you're
She's attempting to look as threatening as possible.
okay. Just for fun, we'll use one of your raises. So you have 4, right? We'll use one of your raises to do a little intimidation attempt. Do you have intimidate?
Yes, I do.
All right. Roll me a panache plus intimidate.
Maybe use different dice.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna stick to this here.
Now we're getting into the weeds, lads.
That's right.
Like, well, I've got these dice, but now I need these
Yes.
I got. Got 2.
Okay. 2 raises.
Wait. If I add. Nope, still just 2. Never mind.
Okay.
It's still spoopy.
That's right.
Like that bitch knows what to do with that sword.
Wait a minute, I thought we already rolled already. For
Yeah, but
She's taking her
because
action
I'm
now,
like
she has
initiating,
Oh.
she's being like, "Bring it, bitches," and so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
like, we're figuring out the.
Yeah, you
I'm taking a measure of how effective her action is. So now you have 3 raises left. Once they move, if you want to take an attack action, you don't need to re-roll. You use those 3 raises and you allocate that.
I get it.
Okay. So both of you are up, Tony,
All right.
Lisa. So Tony, since you took
So
her
yeah,
swing,
she
it's
sees
you.
me
I was gonna
punching.
say mine doesn't work unless he does his
Well,
thing.
she still sees me punching,
Yeah.
and that's like the like that's happening behind me as I'm going. You sure you don't want to just lay
Right.
down?
Right.
And then she and then she sees this one sees the swing
Mhm.
and then pops into bear form because I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to intimidate the
He's
dude
not like bear
behind.
form.
I'm not pulling the bear. I'm just
Oh,
bare
whatever.
hands.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'm just free fisting.
It's not
Fun.
literal bear.
But yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna get my stare down situation
Okay.
because she's just gonna start throwing in. But that's fine. I'm still clocking in for 3 raises.
Okay. You're using all 3
Run.
to do the
Yeah, I
swing.
want to just lay him out.
Okay.
And demoralize, So yeah.
So at this point, since you got 3 raises, you'll get an opportunity on this guy because you're no longer trying to intimidate. You're like, this is on. So now I'm in fighting mode. You basically can swing your punch and arc his pistol shot towards his cohorts.
Yeah, like I don't know if 3 is good enough to get the punch around house to aim him at the ground where I was pointing.
Yeah.
I want to lay him out where I.
Where I told him I was going to lay him out.
Yeah, looking for word.
Yeah.
And it does. So you score 3 on him.
Blap.
And so because you over succeeded, you get your opportunity. So you take your swing, and as you punch him, his arm aims almost literally where you were measuring, shoots right through the floor immediately in that spot. The other guy is looking a little bit less hot about their chances.
Can I not, or can I maybe still try the stare down before she starts throwing punches?
Not this round.
Okay.
You'll be able to try next time. But it did have an effect because
Okay.
it's like, all right, this shot just basically went exactly where you said it was gonna go. And now you have an empty pistol, which
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
No. Yeah. That was
you recorded
Just-
that hero point.
just clobber. No, because I didn't need the hero point. I have to do the hero point to do the stare down.
Well, you can't. No. Oh, that's right. So you needed
Yeah.
to activate it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I see
Then,
the
yeah,
guy.
you're
I see
next.
the guy go down, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna knock some shit out!"
That's right.
And just and like slap your hands together, and just whoever's closest, just straight bare knuckle fist. And she's got the biggest fucking grin on her face. I'm like, yes.
All right. And you have 3 raises, and you're applying all of those to the punch.
No, I think I'll just play one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under the soundtrack, when the music starts,
Yep.
my voice to whoever's next to me says, "Watch her back," and to anyone around, they might think I'm trying to watch out for her, but you all know I mean her literal back because that's where the package is. As shit starts going fucking Guy Ritchie up here.
Perfect.
So
That's right. So yes, the guy, the one that Rethel hit, you heard an audible crack. There's like a nice stream of blood that just shot up as his pistol discharged into the alleyway.
You know Guy Ritchie? Like some
Meanwhile, you're
Something
sort
like
of
that.
like
Some
ducking
bones or
under
something.
there and
I don't
kind
know.
of reeling for a good old punch. One of the guys is just watching that happen, and he did not see you just sort of bob and weave your way right under his chin. So you get to sock him right under there. And you connect.
I don't know, maybe it's Gogo Vidello, because like there's like 5
There's not as
seconds
much of a
before
satisfying crack on this one, but he has to
And
take
the-
a step back and is now looking to draw his sword. Okay. Sally and Amanda, you're gonna be next.
What are you doing?
So I mean,
So what is the effect that you invoked?
well, you mean my you mean for my Sega power?
Yep.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm going to do Arcana, but I have to use a base to read,
Okay.
and then I would guess whoever's nearest to me.
Okay. Well, you know all. You've read everybody at this point, yeah.
Everybody, where?
Your teammates.
No.
No.
I've only read
She's read me, I think.
you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She doesn't have my number yet.
Right.
And me.
Well,
But she doesn't have to read me. I know.
No, it's kinda,
Jimena's
yeah.
the one that's closest to you because you're both facing the rear guard.
Okay.
You're gonna read one of the goons and maybe.
That's what I actually wanted to
Blow them
know them.
Okay.
Ah.
You do it.
Okay. I can force them to activate hubris, or I can replace it with something else.
Which one do you
that sounds
choose?
fun.
Yeah. What are they? I don't even know what they are.
I'm
I
gonna
got you,
read on
fam.
them.
I got you, fam.
I'll tell you what it does.
It's not-
You want to give him the road hubris.
Road hubris.
Underconfident. You receive a hero point when your hero decides he cannot take an action without help from another hero, insisting another hero spend a hero point to give you bonus dice for rest of you.
Sure. Sounds fine to me.
All right.
No, I was hoping to make him run away.
No, but I can work with that.
That's virtue, basically.
No. Moonless Night. Hubris confusion. You receive a hero point when your hero fails to understand an important plot element, and that misunderstanding leads to danger for herself or others.
That's the one you
You
have.
fucking would.
No! That's straight up what she does. No, that's not what I have.
Oh.
But she does this often.
I mean, yeah, sure. I'll do road. I
This
guess.
thing?
Okay.
Oh wait,
I'm
that is my virtue. Is road. Yeah, there's a little black USB thing, like a cord.
And I have spend a hero point and take a lash.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah. No, my virtue
You want the
is-
cord or
I want you to
plug
plug
it
this into the cord.
Alright.
Yeah, my virtue is if I meet someone, they treat me as a friend for a scene. If I use them.
So you use one raise to do that.
Yeah,
You'll have an
yeah,
extra
less
raise to do your attack
hard
action
to
if you so
achieve.
choose, or if you want to keep that as a
Um,
defense, you can do that as well.
I think I might have to use both because
Yeah.
I have one
Ah, yeah.
to see it,
Good.
one for the actual
So she
Use the
looks at the
Arcana.
code
Yep.
with one raise, and then she changes the matrix with the other.
Perfect. So
I still have my thing out though.
Yeah.
Stabby thing.
Your shanking needle.
Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah,
Mine are like steel.
Jimena, she steps next to you with her knitting needle in her hand and approaches.
It's like a boss.
And looks at one of the guys, like one of the guys was sort of giving you a stare down, like not too sure how to act. And suddenly, like you see his eyes like above his long cloak, and he's just like, and he's trying to look like past to see what you can only assume is his captain, but his captain has blood flying out of his nose.
And everyone sees a gunshot, but no one is hurt except the captain.
That's right. And he's just like,
Nice.
What's happening?
right.
I know what I'm gonna do for next round.
So I'm going to aim for the most distracted and confused of the, which is the ones in front.
Yeah. Well, the ones in
Not
front,
the
and then
rear.
there's a very confused guy in the back too, who's sort of like,
Well, there's only 3 in the back, right? But
yes,
there's more.
yes,
And they're all like, wait, he shot himself. What's happening?
yes.
And I'm just gonna try to get behind
All right.
one of whichever seems like they wouldn't notice me.
Like
So
a
you-
proper road. Well done.
Yeah. You had 2 raises to that. How many? So you had to use 1 to activate your glamour. So I guess that will go with your other raise. So you're basically going and clinging to the side of the alleyway. Fortunately, you get 2 big distractions up front. So you managed to pull this, and you're pretty confident you're going to be maneuvered to the right position for next time. All right. Jimena, the other 2 guys are sort of like, one of them just turns around and sort of elbows the other dude, and is like, "What are you doing?" And they both draw swords and rush towards you. So since you came first, you get to take your action at this point, since that was your trigger. So you had 3 raises left. How would you like to do that? Would you use 3 on one of the guys? Do you want to split those between the 2?
She would fight both at once.
All right. So 2 on one, 1 on the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need it.
We're closer to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
have a book too.
immediately, one of the guys, like, they were both sort of leaping towards you, like doing a lunge. But one of the guys sees you draw your blade and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he immediately refocuses his action to try to parry you.
Sword. You
So-
idiot. We all got swords.
A little bit.
He manages to parry your sword away, but then your sword strikes the other guy who was just like, "An opening!" And he just gets himself stabbed in the kidney.
Oh, nice.
Your sword actually does extra damage too, doesn't it? Because you have that crazy Soldano blade.
Yeah, that's right.
I seem to recall. Let me pull my notes on that,
Yeah. Okay.
because it's an artifact. It goes a little bit around.
Yeah. I think that would actually.
The Aldana blade.
Yeah, that's what I have.
That's your signature item.
Yeah.
You know, what's a quirk?
It's what tells you what gets you hero points. I think.
So you mean like with your hubris?
Like,
For once, it wasn't the guys outside. Out front. In the back.
but I had guard, and so my quirk was I get a hero point if I solve a problem.
Oh, so it's like a background thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have them with your
Each background should have one. I think.
Yeah,
with
it has
your
at
with
least
your
one.
roll. The Sorte Strega should have that. Um, That's right. So because it's a weapon, it's a signature item. So it's at page 152. What we have decided was,
Yeah.
so you see like the list that is there. So it's not automatic. So you can spend a hero point to activate
Oh, nice.
any of these things.
Mhm.
So if you want, you can give that attack some extra oomph. Otherwise, you're gonna hit for 2 wounds on this guy.
I think for now I'll just leave it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, you see both of them coming towards you. One of them lunges at you. The other one sees you attacking and gets himself into parrying. So he managed to put his sword in between your attack, but you immediately switch your focus and stab the other guy while running your blade across his. So his attack basically never reaches you, and you manage to stab him for 2.
I'm surprised it was close.
You see him clutch aside, blood spills out of there, and he falls to one knee.
If they double up, you just have it. Because I think I had 1 or 2 things that were like that.
I know sorcery you can take multiple times. So you can do
No.
different things.
No, on the floor.
No, I know. I'm just trying to see what it was.
Oh, it goes to the pet cube that we haven't used in like 6 months.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out why I would have taken it if I already had it.
Which one?
Survivalist?
Because you get it probably from one of your
Yeah,
advantages.
I get it from it. I get it, but then why would I have taken it a second time? Is what I'm trying to like.
Maybe you just wrote it
No,
down
you-
because you got it.
Yeah, it's possible that you get 2 backgrounds that overlap. And
Yeah.
if that is the case, I think one of your skills might go up 1 rank if it doubles up.
Let me double check for you, because
Yeah.
I think I had some stuff like that.
Because I have Riot Breaker and strength of 10, so I specialize in groups. That's it.
Yes. All right, Zhenya. Sword comes towards you. It is not the guy that you hit, because that guy is still reeling a bit, but one of the other guys has drawn his sword and now is trying to take a stab right into your heart. You
What are
have
your
2
backgrounds?
raises left, right?
Your backgrounds were Matushka and what else?
Touched by Matushka and Soldier.
Alright. Go ahead.
Oh, that's like my plans. I'm sorry, he's coming right at me.
Yep, you got a sword going right for your heart.
Can I like try to swat it?
You absolutely can.
Swat with my left, punch with my right, and I have 2 that I can
You have
do
2
one and one.
raises,
Yes.
so 1 to nullify the attack,
Yeah,
which will be sufficient.
and then the other to just.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I stuck with my plan.
you sure did.
Carefully.
So, yes, the sword basically, the guy just tried to stab right at her. She swipes the blade away with 1 arm and just clocks him right in the face with the other.
Yeah, Matushka gives you survival, Soldier doesn't. And you can't take it, you can't take a advantage more than once, so.
Why did I get that twisted? Okay, well, then pass it over and I'll switch out.
Well, make sure you got your points right, because it costs points if you don't get it automatically from your.
Yeah, it's just a 1 point advantage. I was probably just filling in space.
Who still has raises that they have not used?
None of us?
I
None of us.
used all mine, yeah.
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 All right, we go back to a new turn. Woo! What is going to be your approach? At this point, The guys that have been socked will be back into the fray, albeit a little worse for wear. One of the guys has been stabbed and is leaking. Another guy is just very much looking for direction at this point. Jimena is in a duel with the third guy in the back. Even though she just fought two of them. You're maneuvering in position, and then the both of you are engaged in a pretty rowdy fist fight.
Oh, this is hard. It's a hard choice.
So I think I misunderstood the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
So sticking with my plan.
Yeah.
So I've clobbered this guy once, and he's popped off his shot. I wanted his body to go on the floor, but it hasn't. So now that he sort of stumbled, I'm going to elbow him to try and elbow him to the floor.
Okay. Perfect.
That's gonna be
Perfect.
That's gonna be one of my first.
That's me who misunderstood, but yeah,
No,
give me
that's
your
cool.
your chance to.
Cast iron stomach for time sense.
So
I
cast
have
iron
cast iron
stomach.
stomach. We can eat everything together.
Well,
You already do.
I already got table drink. So yeah, I'm like.
So yeah, so that's gonna be like my one of the raises.
For cast iron stomach means you don't
Just
get
kidding.
poisoned.
You look at your road. Did you incorporate your?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have one.
You have one.
Yeah. So with my one then.
You can still try to maneuver him. You won't do damage, but you can still try to use brawl to move and.
Yeah, I guess I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
just plop him in the spot where I told him I put him.
All right.
I botched.
Aw.
Hard.
I mean, it's hard botching roll.
I have a lot of ones. Like
Alright.
more than one.
Unfortunately, they don't cancel
It's
anything.
sad.
They're just sad.
No, it's super fucking
They're
sad.
just sad.
They're just like, oh. Okay.
Alright, well, my friend just fucked up, so.
Jimena continues in her.
Now you're now engaged in a duel.
2 and 3 again.
Yes.
2 and 3.
Yeah, on my own.
All
I
right.
got 3.
I also got
3. Okay.
And I have this leftover
You
7.
can't swap those dice around, can you?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, what does it say?
That was.
That's for the scene, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's for the whole season.
So I think you get what you.
Yeah, you get what you.
Yeah.
It would need another activation, I think, to reshuffle it. With another, if you spent another hero point, if you had that, I would let you reallocate those without re-rolling. But otherwise.
Because that does sound fun.
Yeah. So you're going for another swing?
Oh, yeah?
Okay. On. Perfect.
Alright,
We
so.
will get to that.
So what did he just botch?
Oh,
He
I'm
didn't
not
botch.
going to be super cool this turn. I'm just going to do my one thing instead of the 2 things
Yeah.
I wanted
Oh,
to do.
okay.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get to have more fun before me, so it's okay.
Yep. Jimena, you have 3 as well.
Oh, I didn't even roll for that. So my approach can change, right?
Yep.
I want to try to convince this like confused looking soul that this
Yes,
is
I
not
understand,
the
but it
kind of
depends on
fight
what
that
you're
you
doing.
defeat.
So
Okay.
I'm rolling my dice because
Roll
I'm
me.
continuing to roll. So
Okay.
I'm rolling my.
You get it.
Rolling. Did you feel this in
Panache
Is
plus
your apple pen?
convince.
Do you have sorcery twice as well? Oh, yeah, well, you do, because we have.
You have the extra die that
I got 4 this time.
4? Oh, okay.
And yes, I used the extra one.
Perfect. Alright, Irene.
I'm going to pick up my bow
Oh, yeah.
and it's taking to get ready to hit whoever
Okay.
needs to beat it.
Oh.
Are you okay?
Oh.
Right up my nose.
Oh.
Don't do that.
You're right.
Oh dear. Do you need a napkin?
No, it's just like
A
Then you
skilled
gotta
breath.
suck it
Yeah.
back down out
Yep.
of your soft palate.
Yep.
it's just liquid.
Um,
Like when I
Oh yeah, because I thought it was like a piece of bone.
no, when I was drinking, it just went straight up instead of down because I was trying to get something up, and so extra air pumped it, and so it just straight liquid.
That's what you said.
It burns. That's all.
what should I go?
Probably finesse plus.
Yeah, finesse plus weapon. Aim? Oh, aim, yeah, since it's a ranged weapon.
Unless
I
you have
like
more in
weapon.
weaponry. Okay, yeah, because I should be throwing my axes right now.
Yeah. But I'm not there yet.
So.
Sorry.
Oh, that hurts.
Here it comes back.
Like 2.
2? Okay. Well, Sally, you're up.
Okay. I look this confused. Is he relatively young looking or is he like
Well, you can only see his eyes, but it does look very young.
okay.
He's Captain, oh my Captain right now, but Captain is not responding.
I step as close to him as he'll allow me to
Sure.
and look right into his eyes and say, "Oh, young man, you have made some very bad decisions, and I think that you should leave now."
All right. How many raises are you
I've
pouring
got
into
4, and I want to wait. You can use one of them to create an opportunity, right? What does that do again?
Well, I decide what your extra opportunity is. So
Like, could I potentially spend those to like affect other people too?
I think you could do.
yes, I can give you a couple possible things here. So the risk, obviously, with you doing that is that if it doesn't work,
Yeah, I'm boiled
he's
and
gonna
stabby
he's gonna take a swipe at you. But you got a fair amount of successes. If you succeed and get an opportunity on that, which would be if you spend 3 of those on there,
Okay.
he will leave. If you spend 4 on that, he will probably also leave the company and might leave the town altogether.
You're right. I'm wrong.
Just
Don't leave.
Nope.
You might change this man's life forever.
I'm not gonna spend the 4. I think that I want to keep 1 just in case it's like somebody stabs me.
Okay? But yes, that is the extra opportunity. You will absolutely leave.
Okay, yeah. I just stand up to him and just look. I'm completely unafraid, holding this.
He looks at
needle.
you. He looks at his captain, who's now looking like he's about to get wrestled. And he looks at one of his partners, who's now holding, like, and he's like, my lung. And he's like, you're right.
And he hears his mother's voice from 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Don't make good decisions.
He's still wearing the cloak, but he takes off his hat, revealing, nice blonde curls, and he's like, you're right, ma'am, I shouldn't be here. And then he just bolts. He is gone. He leaves his hat behind him. You can keep it as a trophy.
Sure, I picked up this hat. Ooh, that's a pretty nice hat.
It goes with the
But
rest of
yes,
the hodgepodge.
he
in
is
my
gone.
outfit.
And then the guy that is fighting Jimena sees this go down, and he sees the guy running, and then he just turns and he's like, Javier! What? Where are you going?
Ooh, can I totally use my last race to give an opportunity to do that?
You absolutely can.
That's what I'm doing with it.
All right. You will have an extra opportunity on your turn, which is now, same time as Lisa. So you can totally use the distraction to the extra opportunity she provided you. You can use that distraction to get a free raise and get a hit on him while he's
She just-
yelling to Javier.
Straight through.
Okay. How many raises you pouring in that? You got an auto raise right now from her to hit, so you've already hit. So
Okay.
it's more of a how much damage you want this stab to do.
How much damage?
Well, if you pour all 3, you can do 3 damage. Plus, if you activate your hero thing, like you'll kill this guy. You put a hero point, he'll die. Otherwise, he'll be. If you pour all of your raises on this attack, he'll be out of the fight. He won't necessarily die, but he'll be out.
Okay. Sure, why not?
All right. So you see the opening, and then immediately lunge forward and pierce this guy with your sword. He looks back and turns at you, and he tries to say something, but then just slumps over, unconscious.
Pushes him off the sword with her foot.
Yeah. The rear guard has fallen. Well,
The one
Two-
guy is.
The
the one guy is still there,
adequately broken.
and then one of the other guys probably went home to write to his mom.
You're right. I made some bad decisions.
You're right, Mom.
He's going home and they're gonna kill the fattened calf.
That's
My
it.
son was dead, but now he lives.
All right, Jenya. While this is going down, like you hear all of this behind you, including a very whimpery, like, "You're right," and the sound of boots.
I'm just kind of like, what do you mean?
Everyone's having fun! Who's next?
You hear you hear a very loud Javier, followed by like, oh.
So I've still got 3.
Yes.
Okay, so no, I'm still just fucking having fun. Like I throw another swing. Whoever's closer to me, just boom.
All right.
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
I'll save 2 for another parry.
All right. You hit back the first one that you hit.
Yeah.
You're just like, son of a.
Just that big.
And you're
shitty
holding on to
grin.
the other 2.
Yeah, I'm holding on to those 2
Okay.
in case they come at me again.
All right, Evie. With your maneuver last time, you managed to sneak to the side and you leapt on an old crate. So now you've got
Got the high
pretty
ground.
good. You've got the high ground. So you get a pretty good spot. Out comes the longbow. And now you're taking aim. Anybody in particular?
One of the ones that still has a sword drawn.
Okay.
I hear the
One of the ones hasn't
full
gotten
work
punched
of, like,
yet.
They're creepy. That's the most
Yeah.
Okay. You have your 2 raises. Are you applying both of those?
Gloves on.
Just the one?
No,
Okay.
you're just making that noise.
So this guy, obviously, if you take a shot at him with an attack, he will turn his attention towards you. Since you have 2, the opportunity is that if you use both of those, you will have a chance to reposition and have this guy sort of not be quite sure where the arrow came from.
Come on, do that.
All right. So you pour the 2 in there, and you basically take a quick shot at this guy. He basically gets pinned with an arrow to the shoulder, and then whirls around. But by this time, you ducked closer to where the crate was, and he can't see you above these guys rattling, and this one just punching things. All right. Rethel, you're up.
Oh, yeah. Basically just, so the idea was that the first punch do a shit ton of damage and throw him off balance to sort of set him up.
Yes.
And then I'm just gonna elbow down to thump him onto the ground where I told him I'd set him.
I will. You had
And
3
that's-
last time, so I will absolutely allow that.
That's
So
where it is.
Rethel just repositions and with his elbow just switches weight around, and you see Captain go ass up and certainly roll right at the spot where Rethel pointed. Good thing your boy left, because he would be very disheartened right now.
Save him just a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's right.
One
All
more
right.
company to go back to. Pretty much the same thing.
All right. The guy who has an arrow in his arm now can no longer draw his sword, so he draws his pistol and takes a shot. Evine, nowhere near where you were. Is, you know, he hit something, but that is not in the vicinity of where you were. So your cover is still intact, and now he discharges his pistol. All right. Jenya, you're gonna get another sword thrust towards you. The other guy that you haven't punched, because now you're fighting 2 guys at once.
I'm doing this shit.
Yep. All right. You're lined up to take 2 wounds on that, but you have
I have my
2 raises left.
Yeah.
So you would have to put both of those
To stop
towards not getting hurt, or you can take one of those, you can take both of those and take a different action. You can split that however you please.
Do these guys count as a brute squad?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna use my riot breakers.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Do it.
We're used to opponents coming in the double digits. So yeah, when you take a wound from a brute squad, subtract your resolve from the wounds. The remainder is how many wounds you take, a maximum of 1. Okay, so I'm gonna swat another one away, and then use the other one to just elbow the face.
Perfect. All right.
So I'll take a wound, but something's losing a fucking tooth.
You basically redirect the rest of that damage. Your elbow comes up in the other guy's face, and he crumples down finally into the heap. His nose is broken, so is his spirit.
Cool.
And that's what the real victory is about.
Yep. He's on the ground, and he's just like both hands clutched to his face. And you can see blood like trickling over his cloak.
Yes!
He's
Oh, what is it? Alfred's Farmatushka!
the other guy got swung around as you knocked his attack. He didn't take damage,
No.
but he still took a couple punches. The captain is in third. Anybody has raises still unused?
Who's mad?
Okay,
Who's on mine?
All right.
back to the next.
So, is there anyone still standing that isn't damaged or broken spirited at this point?
There's one guy standing that is the least broken. He's taken a few swings from Jenya, but otherwise he's still looking poised to hit her with his sword.
All right then.
After swatting it away twice.
Yeah, that's right.
Now.
And there is still like
He's not a quitter.
3 or 4 people who are still in the fight.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a couple. There's a couple close to Jimena. One is out. One is getting back to his feet, but has sort of a side wound. One has an arrow in his shoulder, so he's now frantically trying to recharge his pistol one-handed.
Good luck with that.
And then the last one is fighting Genia, and he's the one that is the most in shape. Outside of the captain, which is on the ground, but is
All right. I basically, as soon as the captain hits the deck, I'm still grinning
yeah.
the whole time, and I like reach back and pull out the axes, and I go, and I say, if any of you want to keep playing, I will stop smiling. Otherwise, you should go. And
All right.
The two giant Scando East European.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Just having a good time.
Sick.
Yep.
Sick.
None of you can figure out where Yvonne went.
I never know where this fucker is, so
Yeah.
I'll put us just.
Where's
Arrow
it
and
be?
someone.
There's an arrow
Oh,
and
it's
some
just like
guy.
Tiny
Nobody has a
Marcus.
bow.
Yes.
Marcus now.
Oh, man.
I'm not even sure she has a phone.
That's right.
I have friends to play with. Not too all up on where you are right now.
When did she get a roll?
What else you guys doing?
Has she
What
had
is
that
your
this whole
approach?
time?
I'm still playing my game.
Yeah.
So wait, on our side,
There's only the one.
There's a very wounded dude. Another one is on the floor with a pretty grievous wound. If he's not tended to, he might die.
alright.
And the other guy ran away.
Yeah.
The captain is on the ground trying to get back up after he got wrestle moved there by Rethel.
People's
Exactly.
elbow.
Exactly in the spot where Rethel said he was going to be.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna give him a kiss.
Okay. The captain?
Yeah.
To,
Alright.
to make a full 10
Yep.
and then go over.
Yep, you absolutely can.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Damn,
exactly
if I
10.
just had one more, I
Right?
could have 4.
Right? Yeah. I've got enough 4s.
Yeah.
I've got one less 4 than I need.
I love this because there's a lot of like people just looking at dice and
Well, I had 2
The
10s, 2
different-
3s, and a 6.
Yeah.
And with Amanda's 7, if I had just had one of those 3s be a 4, it was
Yeah.
flush.
I'm running 13 and 10 and 12. And it's like, why you gotta. Okay.
Jimena is gonna put her sword up to the slightly less wounded dude
Okay.
and be like, "Your friend is bleeding. He needs help. You
That's right. Good.
can either take your friend and get them help, or I could kill you. I
So-
feel like this is easy decision."
I will let you decide if you'd rather this be panache plus convince or intimidate.
I think I don't have any convince, so it's an intimidate.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
So you're trying to be nice.
But that's sort
You
of
don't-
We have nothing.
Right.
Your friend is wounded.
How many
Hold
are
on.
you, Tony? 2?
3.
I'm trying to figure out what do I roll for this.
I have 3 as well.
What are you trying to?
Samples.
Well,
Alien and
I mean,
transatlantic.
kiss as in
Yeah.
a
Can't
curse.
tell it.
Yeah.
But I think as along with it, you actually have to take some sort of risk action, right? I'll kneel down next to him, like right up close to his face. I'm not gonna do a lip touch, kissing him on the cheek.
Of course, it's a kiss of death.
Yeah, and then I'm
You're also Italian, so.
and I'll say something like you are at a crossroads. Either you tell your men to go and live with them, or you die. And then I kiss him.
Okay. So that will count as a convince or intimidate.
Sure. So roll for me then.
I'll let you choose one so we know which way this is going. You said you had 3, Lisa?
I have 3 kids.
Remind me, we just add the whole thing and then choose how many tens we have, or do we?
You put dice together to form groups of 10s.
But they can go over.
You can go.
Yeah.
And often.
Often they will do.
So that is.
Basically, the challenge is forming as many groups of 10s as you can with your 4.
Without gross excess.
Did you get 4 again?
No.
Oh.
You got 3.
I got one. I have 8, so I'm pretty good to do that.
Right?
I guess it's 3.
3?
I don't think I could do it.
This is a 3 festival. You're all gonna go out at
Well,
once.
yeah, I could almost. If this was another 10, then I could have 4 because I could add this. in.
Evening.
But it's not.
I think one of these 4s was not a 4.
So you're still concealed
Yes.
as much as you can tell. There's a guy frantically looking for you, but according to his last shot,
Yeah, no.
he's more on the cold and hot spectrum right now.
Just for funsies, I'm gonna try to hit his other ship.
Call shot. All right,
Wow, you're an asshole.
Let's do it.
Nice.
Same roll.
And like, I'm guessing I like was on the crate, hit him, and then like got behind the crate.
Okay.
So I think she would just like stand up and be like,
Yep. Perfect.
Awesome.
They're gonna start calling him Frosty back at the barracks.
Yes. For heroes, ladies and gentlemen, it's like let's traumatize the fuck out of these guys.
Damn, girl.
Alright. 2 minutes.
What about that one?
Actually, kind of this one is 1.
Oh.
Oh
This is
yeah,
only- this is
That's
only 8.
extra.
because skulls
okay.
are fun.
Okay.
The skulls are 1s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So technically, with my onks are 1s, but I've always counted them as 10s because I heard them. And if I roll whatever,
One.
if I
you
ever
roll a
roll a
0,
10,
it's a
I
one.
roll it as I count it as a 1.
Well, that's special.
All right. Well, everybody but Eving has 3, so you all go out at once in one crazy manner. So,
Everybody being like, you can go.
Yeah.
Or we keep
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, basically. We all just did that.
And I'm just having the time of my fucking life. Like, what's
So
that?
I'll actually put one of my raises towards that.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Okay.
Because if they say no, I got 2 more.
Well, you got 2 of you working pretty much on the captain because you did more of a group.
AOE.
Yeah, you did an AOE intimidate. She did a focused one. So I'm gonna count yours as sort of a teamwork because you're both working towards the same goal. He pulled out his axes and was like, "All right, if you stay, we're gonna play for real." And you kind of nailed
Her guy
the
too.
captain. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And gave him a kiss on the cheek and was like,
Oh, I
"You
have
don't
2
need-"
lashes, by the way.
Okay.
That's 2 dice down.
All right.
Nice.
So the captain is basically getting back up to his feet and he's like, "No, please avoid this." And he basically starts to bring it. It's like, "We're leaving," and he started to make a way. Same as the guy that you had your sword on it, and he was like, he basically looks at you and he looks at the guy on the ground and he was like,
He grabs his collar.
he's like, "He can bleed. I need help too." And he starts to leave. He doesn't even carry the bleeding man.
Cold.
That's all.
I know who your friends are. Man.
I'll probably ask that one for information. If he doesn't die.
I won't
Yeah,
die.
it's
I
fine.
fix him.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I didn't really care, but hey,
the other
that
guy
info's
that
good.
you were fighting with is sort of starting to take a step back.
The
But he
one
still-
who finished playing?
He still has his sword pointed towards you, and he's looking like over his shoulder. The captain leaving. It's like, "Guys,
The first motion of retreat, I just start laughing, just belly.
So you have an opportunity to actually take a swing at him as he's leaving, or you can.
He doesn't want to play anymore.
I don't want to play anymore. I know, I'm going to play.
Once you're a few swords distance
Yeah.
away,
He
turns
Oh.
tail and runs.
I only fight those who will engage me.
The other guy is scuttling around with his pistol out, just still looking for the unseen assailant. So if you want to pop your move, even you absolutely can.
Can I?
So I really want to make eye contact with him and go, "Ooh," and see if he runs off. I think it would be equally effective if you hopped out from underneath the thing and said, "Ooh."
So you have two, right? So one would be enough to
Why don't
hit
you
him,
shoot
but
for it?
because you asked for a call shot, that would be an opportunity. So you would have to spend the 2.
Yeah.
But then you'll drop your cover. So you basically have to step where he's gonna see you, and then your
Shoot him
call
and
shot is
say
on their
boom.
shoulder.
Boom, bitch. Okay.
Which one was
All right.
that?
So everybody,
I will
Evie
use my
pops
two.
out from behind one of the cranes with a long bow and just shoots this guy right in his other shoulder. He drops his pistols and then runs with both leg arms, sort of like that. Just
Not a very good look.
wait for me, and he just bump it out. Meanwhile, one of the guys is still bleeding on the ground.
Oh, is this the one I like? Oh, it's
No,
right.
it's the one I already.
So your guy is still rolling around, like he hasn't managed to leave yet. He's just like, oh.
I actually lean down and like pick him up and like go. Be with your friends.
He runs for a few feet
Like
and
3.
then trips and loses hat and then just gets back up and he looks very disoriented.
Jimena walks over to the other dude and kind of
Yeah.
crouches down.
Yeah, axe is back down.
The
And
friends have left you.
He's out.
You're all bump chests and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. There's some over aggressive slapping. Yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
And then we come on over to this situation. I'm like,
Good friends have left you.
I helped one leave.
is he conscious?
No.
Oh, he's
He's out. He's out.
Oh.
We should fix that. We should fix that if we're going to ask him questions.
Say.
Anybody?
The less red one.
I
I've been
step
wa-
back
I've been
a
watching.
little bit.
And I think my regeneration only counts for.
Yeah, if anybody has scholarship, I will let you.
I do.
I have a
What am I
little
rolling
bit.
it for?
I have a whole lot of book learning.
Nope.
Alright.
I have a little bit.
I'm a survivalist. I can patch shit back up.
Is this alchemy?
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, what am
You
I
can,
rolling?
you can try to make a
She wanted
solid.
to alchemist.
Yeah.
Alchemist.
I'm gonna try. What would I roll for that?
Still scholarship.
Just straight scholarship or
Yeah.
what?
If it's not one of your formulas that you know, then you have to sort of hack it.
Oh, this is just for food though. Okay.
No.
So you mix a couple of things and you start to swirl it together, and then you're like, this might blow up.
Just chuck.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, it's not a big boom, but it's like a firecracker boom.
Everyone remember
I'll
to
try
send
and
me
like
the sound.
staunch the bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everyone.
Remember.
Some bad hand is dying.
Yep.
I think this still counts as the same scene, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool, because that's 2 raises.
Oh, well then if I had that, then it made a raise.
Yep.
Okay.
Teamwork.
Yeah, I'm not doing
Yours
it
was-
Mine was a 5.
Mine was-
Yo, you start swirling the thing, and
I
I'm
know
like,
it's a 6.
perhaps we should stop the bleeding. And you're like, see. So we both get in there, and we're like, okay, yeah, okay, that's how it works. That's right, bodies, got it. All right.
You do manage to stop the bleeding. The guy will probably need a little bit to get back to consciousness. Everybody
Prop
roll
up
me.
against the
Roll.
No, I'm gonna pick him up and
Plus notice.
take him with us. I think I picked. No, this character pays attention to things. All right, at least vaguely.
3.
I got 1.
I got 3. Oh no. Yeah, 3. 1.
All right.
Almost.
All the ones.
I don't.
There's a commotion coming from the direction where you guys came from. Anybody above 1, 2s, and 3s, it's boots. The man is coming your way.
Put his arm over your shoulder. Put his arm over your shoulder. Weekend of Bernie's.
She's the sewer.
That's right.
Right. You still got the
You did make some noise, and you actually see like from way down
Well, they're
the
probably
alley.
following the sound of
Some of the
miners.
residents
The
like
gunshots, yeah.
you see an old woman like very carefully peek her head out of her house like after like cracking the door and then just like looking in your direction.
You have too much to drink, my friend. I did.
I say.
Oh, oh,
You need to learn how to hold your liquor.
yeah, it's total fucking. Nothing here.
So because you got multiple people that had 2s and 3s, you heard the din well enough in advance that you can manage to take more alleys and go where there's actually people, and you can just sort of mingle there. You're not quite at the restaurant yet, but you can take a break at this spot if you'd like to get this dude to
Find
recover.
somewhere.
There's a couple, benches, some people, some shops are sort of open outside. There's a dude hammering, looks like he's making swords.
No, I think we should take him to the restaurant. Hear me out. Those of us who may be less good with the social graces will stay with him.
Everybody loves me.
I know. Sometimes a little too much. And you
I'm
ladies,
possibly the best one. I'm
Or rather-
convinced.
and,
Green
you know,
empathy.
Stealth Squad
Yeah.
can go in with the package while we discuss this gentleman's current employment. As much as I love splitting the party, I feel like. So objections sound okay. We'll hike him to
Well,
the back alley.
how does he look right now?
The bleeding has
Mostly
stopped.
dead.
So he's starting to regain consciousness. He seems a little hot and disoriented, but
He seems a little hot.
I'm
Really?
bothered.
I
Yes.
take a look. Is he hot? I'm just kidding.
sort of.
Sort of.
Spit.
Alright.
Yeah,
You're sitting
He's
better.
well.
Proper
He's
fit.
young. He has a little bit of wispy beard.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but I think I do.
It means what you think it does.
We keep using the word. What does it mean?
or you are emasculating everyone you meet. Either way, keep doing it. Haha.
Alright.
See, I think we weekend to Bernie's it to an alley right next to the restaurant.
Okay.
And then me and Zevia.
Shania.
Jenya. And so I called you that I think I've called you that before. And I like it.
You know where I got the name Jenya from?
Where do you get Jenya from?
A Google Dello song.
Oh, there you go.
Xena Marina.
Oh, which is that's close. All right. Jenya.
Jenya is one of the names of the women you list off.
So yeah, Jenya and I'm like, Jenya, will you please hand off the package so the ladies can take it inside?
Yes. And she pulls out her rucksack and
And
digs
the
through it.
gentleman, I forget,
Pass it off.
Naveen, Ivan. Naveen is technically masculine,
Eh?
mostly.
Eh,
Ish,
sort of.
maybe.
Androgynous.
Okay.
Maybe.
Nobody really knows.
All right.
Whatever you
So
want.
they can take it in while we talk to this gentleman when he wakes up. Maybe he would like some of your snacks.
Okay.
You got a mission now. Nurse this young man back to health.
Hey, part of my lessons from Matushka is kindness.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind the shit out of this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can have your lunch.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I will enter a new scene. That's right. Curtain.
Who am I going with? Us three.
So the two of you are going to the restaurant. The two of them are staying with
They're saying
this
not
young
bad.
gentleman.
Jose.
All right.
We've established.
Jose
If
now.
if that wasn't his name, it is now.
That's right.
Keep calling me Jose. Jose.
Oh, classic Jose.
My name's not Jose.
But that's not my name. We don't care.
Yes.
Today.
This
It
guy.
is what you're with us.
This guy always.
You look like
So he is starting to wake up. He does ask for some water. If any of you have any to spare.
I give him something that will put hair on his face.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. He coughs profusely. So those of you who are there,
That will disinfect the wound.
without his hat and the cloak down, he's pretty young, like probably late teens, early 20s. He's fit, but it looks like he's made some bad choices. Looks a little sullen and maybe malnourished. Probably doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, no shit.
oh,
He has sort of brown curly hair, and again, like a very wispy beard. It's growing more on one side of his face.
Oh,
I'm fine. Okay.
it was in my purse.
I'm sorry. I
It
was just like,
Drifted.
Cosmic cube.
was here. I don't know how it got over there.
We got so animated and we just.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I was looking through the bag and now it makes sense. You're smart, Tony.
I try. Don't let it get around.
But yeah, so he starts to get to, right, like he's sitting down, and when you give him stuff to drink, he just like coughs and leans over his knee for, about 30 seconds.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My mistake. And then I hand him some actual water.
He gulps a fair amount of it. Thank you. What? Where are we?
You're alive. That's where you are.
He actually looks at where he got stabbed, and he's like, all right.
we're in back alley.
I can see that.
You
I'm still
asked.
there.
Who are you guys?
We left, I think.
That's
You
like,
know, let me talk.
Yeah.
Shut up. I'm Janya. I come from Usura. I blah blah blah.
and sort of under that, I go. We're the people you attacked.
We are not the ones who stabbed you.
Yeah,
She went inside.
If I stabbed you, you'd have
This
to
is
look
actually
like-
helping the healing process. Actually, the fact that you're not there,
What?
is actually helping out because he's not freaking out as much. He didn't see so much of these guys, didn't get a chance. But yeah, so you're going through the whole. This is where I'm from, and this is what I do, and in my homeland,
I
things
let
are
him
like
get
this.
tired.
And he's nodding, but
And
you can tell that even though he's nodding, he's no closer to understanding what is going on.
At some point, she goes into how it looks like you've made bad decisions in your life. If you're good to mother, then he goes on to this big rant and like be kind to the earth and really look inside
I
yourself.
sort of do the running commentary. I'm like, no, absolutely. And then when
Yeah,
she gets a little more, I'm like,
You should find the kindness inside of you and do good for people. Don't ambush people in back alleys. No, you should make friends. Go have dinner together.
I get that.
We should have a drink. And then
He gets misty a little bit.
you say we should have a drink and I hold up the plastic.
we should have a drink together. We'll make a good man out of you, and then you will be blessed with a good life.
That's what I want, but I tried joining the military, but then the military, I don't know, like.
No, the military does terrible things to you, but we could take these trainings and make us into better people. See, look at me! I'm so happy! So, by the way, if I teach someone a lesson, that would make Matushka proud.
Yes,
Did
that's right. That is right.
I teach him a lesson?
If he
Yes,
doesn't
you
take
are.
a swig, I just.
Yes, no, he does, and he's more and more. He's sort of listening, and he starts to unpack some of this stuff. How it's like I left my village, but then I didn't have money, and I don't want to go back to my mom.
Like second attempt is less coughing. Third attempt,
That's
no
right.
coughing. He goes for a fourth.
Oh
I
no,
don't let him.
he's losing it. He's losing it.
Okay.
And by the end, he's just telling you the whole thing. It's like I don't know what my dad is, but like my mom, she's working so hard, but I can't go back like this.
No, she's a good woman.
I can't go back like this. But then the military, since the war is done, it's a no-go. They're not gonna hire somebody like me. So
No, you have good things about you. Look at your hands. Well, good. Oh, they're small.
Right.
You could do little things.
They kind of soft.
Look, I can't hold these things.
They just slip right out. Like, oh, no grip.
I crushed them.
No grip. Oh, I broke your wrist, but that's okay. I will heal. We'll
That's
bandage.
fine.
But yeah, the more he's drinking, the more he's currently.
Well, no, after the fourth, or at the fourth, I stop passing, and yeah, when he starts being like, oh, yeah, I'm like, and then the thing, like I'm just prompting to get him to. And then I joined up with these guys to try and just work it out.
And he's like, oh yeah, the Lion and Lantern. Yeah, I've heard about it.
People fucking like
Maybe I'll start hanging around there.
Lion and Lantern.
That's
right,
the
because it's
tavern
right.
that
That's
we
the
were
tavern.
hanging out
Yeah,
at.
there's mercenaries hanging out there. Maybe I can try my luck at that.
There's a really nice lady there. She smiles at everyone.
What are you working on now?
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I just need to hit it with a good, reputable mercenary band.
We'll go with this now, so we know to watch out.
Really. So I started working for this captain. His name is Carlos. I started working for him like 2 weeks ago, and he I don't know, he's doing some odd jobs, and I think they're working for a guy who works for the governor, maybe. So I don't know. We're most of the time it's just intimidating people and keeping the peace. But once in a while we get these kinds of jobs where we gotta steal something or prevent something from happening.
So I get the sense that this captain had this crew that was his team.
That's right.
And then they would take odd jobs from whoever.
Right.
But his suspicion was
But
that
it's not a high ranking. Like they just got pulled from whoever.
Sure.
The pay sort of shit, and they don't tell them anything. Right. Like he goes over that multiple times. That it's like we don't get told what it's about. We just
do the job, we get the money.
Yeah. So
This does not sound like good employer. Which is
No,
merch.
no. He actually looks ashamed when you say that, and it's like, no, I guess you're right. He's sort of slumping.
Kicks a
over
rock.
it.
When I feel sad, this is what I do.
Like I give him a withered look, like I don't know where this is going.
It's like we're in this together now.
Let's have some snacks. Let's eat something. And
How did it go?
pops open a
Yes.
jar.
No, he actually does take you up on that.
Got a crusty loaf of bread. Even the fucking bread. I don't know. I want some bread.
You can still tell it's bread. It's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Very animal.
Eat the gem. It's good for you.
Big bite, just smiling.
Yeah.
No, he's
It's good for your
partaking.
blood.
He looks like he needs a good meal, so
Yeah.
he's actually enjoying that. All right.
Oh,
Meanwhile-
Yeah, these assailants, they
Well-
took care of me and
Well, yeah.
drinks.
keep me alive.
To be fair, we were not the assailants, we were the assailed.
No, I know. Yeah.
Well,
The ambush.
You
They're
changed
great.
at least 2 lives.
Yeah,
5 stars. Would ambush again.
God,
Yeah.
we play.
It's Yelp with an E at the end.
Yell.
So meanwhile, the 3 of you make your way to the Restaurant Salazar, which is packed. It is packed and loud in there. There's actually people at the door. Some people look like they might not get in. They get turned away and look very dejected. There is sort of a person holding a list of some sort that is either waving people in. They're very fancily dressed, have a sword at their belt, and they're sort of letting people in or not. You see like parties coming in that look fairly fancy, like merchant class, if not aristocrats.
Gosh, I
walking
don't
to
think
the
I'm
restaurant,
well
getting
enough
waved
I
in.
know, right?
When those people come in, usually there is a person that you can assume is looks like a butler that is accompanying them in. But there's a lot of people that are kind of left outside and look like they have no prospect of ever getting in.
It's not like a line though, right? Walk up to this person.
There sort of is, but some people are sort of walking beside the line and do introductions, and you see some people just get escorted in, like the
Kimena just walks up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I would do. We roll up to the guy that's got the list.
yeah, he has a soft, floofy hat with a very big plume on it, and it just gives you the look over when you come in. He's wearing like very puffy sleeves and like a really ornate doublet.
And because they're slick, they don't look like they've been in a fight at all.
No, no. Well, some of them didn't go into melee at all. Like you stabbed a couple guys and looked, no worse for wear. But yeah, he kind of gives you a look over and he's like, "Yes, can I help you?"
Did we have a name for who we're giving this package to, or
Yeah,
were we just told to?
the dude who
Is it the Grande?
the unofficial
Yes.
the unofficial.
Yeah,
What's the
the
name of
Grande.
this person?
Lucia Seraphine.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With an X.
Wait, where's the X in there?
The sh.
It's the sh sound.
Yeah.
So you
It looks like
US.
Uxia.
Yeah.
Southern Castile, so it's Catalan.
It looks like
Yeah.
Uxia.
What? Sorry, what's last name?
Seraphine. You bring up the name and he starts to look over his list. It's like, I do not think Miss Seraphine will be seeing anybody else today. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, we're not just.
We have something for her.
Yes, and we must deliver it directly. It is important that we do so.
Well, I'm sure you and a lot of other people, but
Can
she
we
has a
say
very.
who it's from? Or is that, or we're trying to keep that secret?
I think you were trying to keep that secret.
Okay. Yeah, just great.
Alright, well,
There is a seal on the package. So.
maybe I'll go with the.
You
whole-
actually show the
That's the
package
seal?
to him.
Yeah.
Or does she know that the seal is what's her name?
It's not actually. It's not the seal of the company. It's a different one.
Okay.
So you see him sort of look over. He leans a little bit closer to it. He looks back at his list and basically says, "Wait here a moment." And he just steps inside. Behind you, you hear a couple sighs from a merchant and his wife who, have not waited more than a couple minutes and are very inconvenienced by this. After a couple moments, he comes in with the sort of maitre d' looking guy that you saw earlier, and basically says, "Please follow Hugo inside. He will show you to a table, and you will be tended to momentarily." He hands you back the package and gives you like a little nod as if you're supposed to know what it is. It goes over your head.
But I act like I do. Oh,
Minutes.
You stepped in there and it is packed. There's multiple sort of wings to the restaurant. It's all built with like arches that have like little enclaves where there's like live musicians. Lots of guitar playing over there. There's like dancers all over the place. Like servers are just running about, like bringing food to everybody. It is just happening. You get brought to a little secluded table by the window that overlooks the port. And the gentleman says, "Please wait at this table. Senor Sebastian will be with you shortly." And he basically steps out. Any of you who would like to can attempt a wits plus scholarship, I
Oh,
guess.
sick.
I would go with empathy if you have that.
I do.
It's
Whichever you have higher.
got 2.
2.
Yeah.
3. All right. You remember, both of you, you remember hearing that name. Sebastian is one of Ushia's men. He is known to be hanging around the restaurant quite a lot. Evine, your training kicks in, and you dig into your wellspring of knowledge. Sebastian is, yes, that's right. There's like formulas that appear behind your head. You basically remember he's basically her second in command. Wherever she is at, he shows up. He basically just appeared at some point in time and has been Ushia's sort of closest confidant since then. He acts sort of like as a bodyguard and advisor to her, so he very rarely leaves her side. So yeah, you basically get brought some Castilian wine. You get brought some fresh fish and seafood, and you get a couple plates, and the gentleman basically says, "On the house." Apologies for the wait.
Okay,
ladies.
Jimena goes to fucking town.
Yeah, they bring you bread. They bring you,
Gotta keep that hammer space
Yeah.
going.
They basically bring you the equivalent of paella.
Oh.
Just have you dig into
Better
that.
meal than I've had in a little while.
Shoveling it onto a plate in front of her. Throwing it in her mouth.
I'm not much slower
Or
either.
like you didn't just fill a plate and then
She
take
takes
the
the,
bowl
she takes
and
the
leave
whole
the
pie
plate.
and just goes.
That's right.
I try to get like a tiny bit of it on my plate.
Feed
and
that
leave it
lady
slowly.
and just like shove some into your purse.
My aunt used to steal breadsticks from Fresh Choice.
Because you
I might
could.
get hungry later. You
Yeah.
never know when you're gonna need them. It's like you can just take them.
Right.
You can get an actual box.
Yeah.
That's it. But she felt the need to she'd take them and put them in her purse.
Just like hoard them.
Yep.
She didn't want people to know, which was a shame.
It's that
Yeah.
genetic
Rubber
memory
bread
of being a
thing.
squirrel somewhere down the
I used to steal the. You know when you go to Denny's or whatever, and they have all the little jam packets.
line.
I used to always take one of every flavor. And we had, the little thing in the refrigerator that's supposed to be where the butter goes.
Yep.
It was full. I never used them. I just like taking
You just
them.
need them.
I just needed them when I was like a little kid, and my mom finally had to be like, "Stop it, no more."
Our buddy Danny, that's the one we went to school with. But every time we went to a restaurant and they had little Tabasco bottles, he'd fucking take them. So he had a cupboard of nothing but little Tabasco bottles.
Nice.
A full fucking cupboard. And we were like, why? And he goes, I don't know. Put another one in. Oh, so fun to watch. Anyway, continue. I apologize. You're eating paella. Good stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you get some chance to eat. After a little while, you see a gentleman in sort of a swordsman's outfit kind of come towards you. He's wearing sort of the side short cloak, fairly fancy but functional clothing. Wearing sort of a pinned hat with a nice plume. He's very tall, very broad, and has ebon skin, so he looks like he might be Ifri, maybe. He, as he comes closer to the table, he takes off his hat. He's completely bald except for, fine mustache and beard, who's kind of salt and pepper. And he just pulls up a chair and sort of sits along the table with a big old grin on his face. Says, "How are you enjoying the food?"
I think Nana is very much enjoying the food.
It's like she's like, look at this poison.
Good. Glad to hear it. We'd like to bring some with you.
Yes.
Hey,
What about some wine?
hey.
Perfect. And he snaps a couple of times, and the guy from earlier almost bowls over when he snaps. He's like, bring, let's make it 2. 2 red, 2 white. Bring this at this table.
It's been too nice, guys.
And then he basically just extends a hand towards you, Evine first, and he's like, "I'm Sebastian."
Hello, Sebastian.
He shakes it. He has a very firm handshake, and he does the same to all of you. Sebastian,
Marilena.
thank you so much for coming to see us today. I apologize. Lady Seraphine has a very busy schedule, so she's still wrapping up with a couple of diplomats from the Crescent Empire. She'll be done shortly. I am hearing that you have something for us.
Hey.
May I see it?
Gonna kind of like look sick.
You may see it, but you can't open it.
Oh, I wouldn't dare. He actually pulls it over and just leans and looks a bit closer at the scene. Good enough. It just slides it right back. Thank you for bringing this to us. And as he finishes his sentence, the maitre d' sort of comes in with like 4 bottles of wine and drops that on the table. He's like, "This for you." They bring more food. And then he kind of pulls like a little floral curtain behind him as he leaves. And Sebastian leans over and says, "Our agents tell us you were in a little bit of a scuffle coming here. Are you any worse for wear? Is there anything that we can do for you?"
No, but some of their guys could use some rehabilitation.
Oh, we are
You
just
just
fine.
the other guy. We have fight.
Meanwhile, in the alley, it was like, you're right. Maybe I should go and take up mountaineering.
Yes.
I could do that.
There's nothing better for you than good fresh air.
Yeah.
It's so hard to breathe in these cities full of people
Oh,
running
you know that.
around.
I mean, a lot of people do trade by boat nowadays, but there's still a lot of people that cross over mountains, right? Like, I could actually help with that.
Wherever
I could
else
teach you to
in
skin
life.
a rabbit.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that. Oh, my mom would be proud of that.
You could bring food for your family, make everyone proud.
Trying to see if I
You'll
can
be a
find any
good husband.
Right. He's unfastening his cloak and sort of, getting rid of that. You know what? That sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
Or, if you have any other talents, maybe pursue them. They could lead to a career.
What's for the better career than providing for your family? My Russian is
Right.
way Greek.
She's absolutely right. Although providing for your family does not necessarily mean directly giving them food for the day. It's open to interpretation.
At this very moment, in a very dim lit room closed by the port side, a gentleman is writing a letter. "Mother, I am leaving San Felipe."
You were right.
You were right.
Poor decision.
I do not have the mental fortitude to take over this den of sin. I must seek my
Take
fortunes
over
elsewhere.
He had some high hopes.
Yep.
Man. Probably gonna go to
This
church
place
after
is
this.
changing me, Mother, and I must leave it behind.
I could have told you that. You should have listened to me.
So glad you finally know. Just took some burly woman to beat you up.
Oh, I see you finally got some sense beaten into you.
Right.
She fed me blood. It was great, Mom. My whole life has changed.
Back at the restaurant, Bastian is like, well, glad to hear that. I like these guys. Hey, Rodrigo, I like these guys.
You should meet the rest of the team.
You hear the maitre d' like half across the restaurant and is like, that is great, sir. And he's just continuing to serve people.
I have the blue squall.
We do appreciate you taking a risk in delivering this to us. This means a lot. So if there is anything at all that we can do, please come to the restaurant and ask for me personally. I would be happy
I'm so happy.
to help you.
Your
Very well.
Rossini.
As he finishes
She's
that,
miracle next.
that came at a perfect lull. As he finishes that, the old maitre d' sort of comes in and whispers something in his ear. It's like, oh, well, perfect timing. It looks like Lady Seraphine would be more than happy to meet with you. If you would follow me. Don't worry about the food. If you want to finish that, we'll make sure it follows you. We'll have Rodrigo here pack those bottles for you as well.
I think you found your new home.
Sí, gracias. Por favor.
I think I
You,
finished it 2 days ago.
Are you a wine connoisseur by any chance?
I,
How do you say I dabble?
I,
I partake.
I'm a wine enthusiast.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
I like it.
Right. Well, this is Western Castile. Not too shabby, but you know, if you prefer something else, you let me know. So he sort of leads you across the
Everything
restaurant,
in a box.
all the way in the back.
She's just hire the cook and like have him come to our place.
You go through.
No, what's her name's cooking is delicious.
That's right.
As much as someone else keeps trying to cook other things.
There's a home in hers.
No, I don't try to cook things. I'm gardening and saving you all from the horrors that
Yes.
is.
Making sure that the butler is not murdering all of you in your sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Always the butler.
It always is. You know it.
Especially if it's a French butler.
Ah, I don't believe so. Absolutely not. So yeah, he leads you sort of to one of the back arches where there's like a secluded table. The music here is a little bit more dim. There is a musician actually in, but playing less fiery tunes on
Oh,
the guitar.
it's like ambient.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a bit more
that's
dimly
a
lit.
specialty.
And you see a dinner table that has food and wine on it, but also a bunch of books and paper. It looks like a dinner table and a work desk all at once. And at it sits a middle-aged woman with a big old scar across her face, long, sort of dark brown hair tied in a high ponytail, and she's wearing a dress that she looks fairly uncomfortable with, but there's a sword and pistol sort of slung across her chair. And as you come in, she's very unladylike, just like cracking her back like that.
I like
And she sees you come in, and she just sort of reshifts in her chair and puts her hands on the table. And it's like, I apologize. I'm sure none of you needed to see that. Please have a
That's
seat.
fine. Don't
It's
worry.
You like
Sebastian
swing your
actually-
hip just a bit to show the hilt and be like,
Yep. Get some of that Castilian sass. Sebastian actually follows you and pulls like a similar sort of curtain from that. And he's like, don't worry about them, Lucia. I think they're cool. They're fine. And he just goes around the table and sort of stands there like he leans against one of the pillars and takes off his hat and throws it on one of the
I
chairs.
think I'm okay with being cool.
So, we're hearing that you have a very important package for us.
Indeed.
Just takes it out and slides it across the table.
She grabs it and looks at the seal, and she looks at Sebastian and is like,
Wait, do we know what the seal is?
No, we have no
Can we
idea.
like totally roll something?
They're about to murder
You
you
can
all
try.
for having this package.
you can try.
Okay, so scholarship,
Yes.
with two scholarship.
With plus scholarship, yes.
I got one.
I got 3.
3.
I mean, I'm custodian, so I might recognize it.
Yeah, and we've been outside of that shit.
Also got 3. So all of you can plainly see the seal has a couple branches of laurels sort of going around, and the actual image is basically the profile of a ram's head. There's the nose and the twisting horn with like a sword that goes top to bottom. With 3, that's both of you who had 3. So, Sally, you remember?
I don't have three. It's
Oh.
it's-
Us 2.
Yeah.
It's both of you? Okay. You've encountered it locally. You've studied about this. This is basically a seal of the Odyssean Liberation Army.
Well, I would super know what that is. Right?
Yes.
It's a good thing you didn't show it to anyone until you got to the door.
Right.
This is basically a group that supports Ushia as the true Grande and the ruler of Odisseo. And it's the independence movement that's its official arm, even though Ushia herself has never publicly taken a stance as agreeing to that. She's the candidate that they support. So yeah, she takes that and just unfolds the package, and in it, there is basically a small vial as well as a roll of parchment, which she immediately unrolls. You see actually Sebastian kind of leaning from his pillar and he's sort of reading over her shoulder, not even bothering to hide that he's doing so. She nods her head a couple of times as she's getting through that and basically folds the paper back onto the table and puts it on the side, and she leans forward. I heard that you got into a little bit of danger coming here.
Oh, it wasn't much. They ran.
I don't know if I would call it danger.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Because
They were
you...
mostly on the floor or complaining or crying. Doing some crying. A little bit.
One ran away.
Just
You
Who
see,
said that?
Sebastian is kind of leaning against the pillar and he's like, nice.
Never saw it coming.
That's my kind of lady. She actually she actually looks at him and just well, I'm glad that this was not as much of an ordeal, but
It did interest me that there were some people that wanted the dead, or at least wanted the package.
Thanks.
well, this
Well,
is
that makes sense to you.
a piece that is very concerning. People should not have known that this document was reaching us and be able to act in such a quick fashion.
Oh yes, some of our companions is questioning one of those men.
We think they're questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You imagine us in that
In
background.
your head, in your head, they're like in
So true.
some sort of.
I mean, come on, that's all we've really seen.
Meanwhile, it's three dummies sitting on a bench right now, being like having snacks.
Right. Right now, they're discussing the merits of goat cheese, whereas like in your head, like it's like.
Oh shit, we would totally
They're-
talk about some fucking goat cheese. Am I right? Lisa? Yeah, no, the three characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's kind of no, from the mountains. No, you gotta talk about.
Yep. In your head, it's like an interrogation in the back room of a
Yeah,
dingy
yeah.
blacksmith shop, and he's like suspended, like in the air by his
Fingers.
arms.
Yeah.
Perilously clenched in pincers.
Well, that will be something worth investigating. While I'm not at liberty to give you details, I will tell you that you have done us a great service this day. We are in your debt.
You're welcome.
If there is any way myself and my people can repay it, please let us know. And then she slides basically a little container about like this big. It's just like folded, looks like velvet, and she slides it across the table to you guys.
And then I think that
It's basically a big gold coin that has the same seal on one hand, and on the back side has basically like a crossed sword and pistol with the same laurel leaves.
Means you can get into the clubhouse.
This will give you access to the restaurant, and will also give you access to some of our agents if you need to prove that you know us. Let us know if we can return the favor in any way. And then Sebastian actually peeks his head out of the curtain. He's like, "Hey, Rodrigo!" And he just yells right across the restaurant over the musicians and everything. Like you hear a couple ladies actually get startled. You hear the little man like sort of bowling over, and he actually reaches at the table and he hands him the vial and leans over and whispers a couple of things to him, and Rodrigo grabs the vial and leaves. So yes, your part of the mission is over. Feel free to enjoy the restaurant. Am I wrong? But according to our intel, there was supposed to be more of you.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
anybody get wounded during that scuffle?
They just said that
No,
there was
they're
two
just
others interrogating.
spending time with the one that we captured. Quality time.
Well, feel free to return to your table in the meantime, and if your friends want to join you, we can send someone to fetch them.
Blanca.
We're actually great.
We're having a snack on the floor. Giving them an intervention.
I will go.
Yeah,
I will get
we
it.
can take care of it.
Okay.
We'll hold the table.
Watch
and
the
do that.
food.
Yes. I am full, but I will watch it for you.
That got really serious. Like, watch the food. Don't
Yeah.
let anybody
No,
near
right.
it. No one.
Stars.
It's the most serious she's been.
Pretty much.
You better still be here.
Sebastian actually goes back with you guys. Lucia is like, thank you very much. I must attend to other duties, so apologies if this little chat is short. But if you have anything that needs to reach me, please tell it to Sebastian. We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
And then Sebastian actually goes back with you guys to the table and pulls up a chair and sort of hangs out for a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Can I
you
go
can get
to
your own
find
food.
these assholes?
We're
As soon
having
as
a
you
picnic.
see, hey!
When you
Blood
arrive,
off my lips.
they're in a heavy discussion about goat cheese.
Cheese. Oh yeah, you hear it a mile
Which
off.
country has which region of which country has the best
What you gotta
and
feed the
why?
goats? Which type? Oh
Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
absolutely.
That's right. Which herbs have
We're
to go
giving
in
shout
it?
outs to other regions across the.
Voila!
Hey! So it went well?
say.
Quote unquote Jose tenses up
Yeah.
very much when he sees you.
Give him a reassuring hand.
Yeah,
I'm
she
like,
puts his arm around
Yeah.
you. It's okay.
What's that? 8 history.
But
But also, do we know where he came from? Do we know who he works for?
Like,
They don't know.
They don't
This
know.
is some guy named Carlos.
He worked for the captain, who's named Carlos. And I know. And
Never
And
known a
he
good card.
was getting his jobs from someone connected
I
to the
would've gotten
governor.
his
Does
name.
that
What's
make
his
sense
name?
to you?
His name?
Absolutely, it makes sense to
I
you.
would-
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I would have
It's
totally.
Jose.
Yeah, it's Jose now. Yeah, I would have totally gotten his name.
And so what? So what do you say when I
Yeah.
say? Does that make sense to you?
I put it in my notes.
Oh, really? I hit Jose just a little. I'm like, good job. See, it's good. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so this one
Oh.
is not much.
Oh, good.
First of all, would you guys like to come eat?
We're
Everyone-
good.
Hey!
Oh, there. And
Is
so we
that-
pick up Jose and hobble him in.
Hey! Come eat
His
with us.
actual name is
Jose.
Like, he's
Andres.
with us.
Not
Only you
anymore.
know that.
Oh, and I know.
He's Jose now.
I mean, we pretty much adopted him, I think.
But in fucking Russia, they got 8 names anyway. So he's
Shit, I have like seven.
Jose, but
Yeah, that's
whatever.
right. Yeah, that's right.
For all we know, his name is Jose Andres. So,
Yeah,
you
somewhere
know,
there, yeah.
he just goes by Andres because everyone's name is Jose.
No, Jenny straight up piggybacks him.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
go.
if he can't, yeah.
The info they got was the captain was where they met to get their jobs, and then that the captain's contact is part of the which he
is all
thinks
stuff I
is
have,
part of the governor's people.
which makes perfect sense now.
Yeah.
So we follow in, and she does the little coin flippy thing with the like.
Yeah, you get waved at the door, you get brought in. You guys arrive at the table. These two are in conversation, pretty rowdy conversation with this tall,
I start ordering cheese from everywhere. We're gonna sell this now.
burly black gentleman that's just like engaged in deep conversation with both of them.
I can't even eat
It has to
anymore.
have bill. If it does not have bill, it is not
That is
right.
extra. This is gilding.
No.
Really.
Hola. These are my friends.
He actually gets to his feet.
This
hands
is
on hand.
Jose. He was the one who accosted us.
This is El
Andres.
Norte
That's Jose.
y La Cuerva. You're the crow now because I've actually seen you turn into one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We were discussing
She doesn't
which
remember your
regions
name.
has the nicest cheeses.
Oh, no, that's a good conversation. That's a conversation worth having.
So because I don't understand custodian, I'm like, she's giving me a pet name.
Yep.
We got truly friends.
She's like, I have an honorific now.
Backslash.
But yeah, Sebastian just extends
Fully
like, a
committed
little hand,
to the cheese situation.
and he's pulling a couple chairs,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Well, no,
More wine.
I have flat prints.
I've got your
Dig, dig, dig.
Now, I'm sure the chefs would like to share theirs.
"What do you
Good
drink?
boy.
Wine? Anything stronger?"
Yes.
All right, okay.
Whatever you got.
Jose's eyes are huge. I'm sure. He's
Yep,
like,
yep.
he's like,
What
Yep.
have we done?
That's right.
I've died and gone to heaven.
That's right.
This just took me getting run through.
I was on the wrong side this whole time.
Reader's life of crime.
Enjoyed
Yeah,
this
how's
one.
the wound, by the way?
Technically,
What's
we're
that?
How was the wound, by the way?
He got patched up, but he's still.
Yeah, so I tell Sebastian,
Oh yeah.
do you have anyone here who can help with this injury?
Oh yeah, I stabbed him.
Oh yeah. Like as you say that, like he just flinches a little bit.
Oh, we're
Reassure,
done with the
reassure.
stabbing.
No, we're okay now. We're
Releases of the air.
Yeah.
Little
He's
bit
like,
of this.
oh yeah. No, you have an injury. Like, come with me, son. And it just like gets him up to his feet. We're gonna go see Esteban in the back. Esteban is our doctor. You know.
Just like wave him out.
We save you some cheese.
And then he yells as he passes by, and he's like, "Oh wait, the doctor doesn't work in the same room as the chefs. It's all legit, right? You hear You heard a couple of people like in the restaurant.
whatever.
Like,
I mean, butcher/doctor, it's a thing.
I mean, you know, yeah.
When at home, the chef is usually the medic, so like it's the same guy. So yeah.
Yeah, but
If it doesn't have to take apart an animal, we just put one back together.
Anatommy.
Bones is bones,
so
Kevin has just started eating again.
yeah,
which I respect. Which I'm like, yeah, we're gonna put it away. It's good.
Rodrigo brings more wine, a couple bottles of hard liquor.
I got wine to go. Hey.
Never stop being you.
He brings a basket of bread, and he looks a little worse for wear. Actually, he's just like, "Are you folks okay? Do you have everything you need?"
I'm great. How are you?
Have I seen anyone
I'm
tip
alright.
him or anything? Or like, are other people getting tipped at all anywhere? Like, is there any way to help this guy?
No, sit with us. Eat.
I'm afraid I can't. I have. If I sit down, Sebastian he's gonna yell. You don't want that.
I help you.
No, please.
Just let her
Yeah.
do it. Just let her do it. It's too late now.
He turns ghost and says, "Please sit down. If I get seen, no, please do not. I'll be fine. I will leave you. I will
Jenya?
leave you."
Perhaps. Which was the little blue bottle? What was in that? Like totally just fucking distracting. Like, cause like there's like three things I
Yes.
remember in your pack.
And he's
there at the
stepping
bottom.
back further and further
Oh,
away
yeah.
to the curtain, and he's like,
I like slide some gold. I'm like, yeah, no, yeah. Just quick run.
he hesitates and grabs it. And
She's too kind, bro.
Yes.
You'll never shake her.
She'll crush you with it.
Vin is just drinking straight from the bottle of wine. It's half
Yes.
empty.
Even that wine is weak.
This is bullshit.
That's why you're halfway through already.
Yeah, I mean the taste is all right, but you know
It's not like the most.
you're a bottle and a
ordered
half
beer.
in, and you're like,
It's hard for me.
there should be a buzz right about now. There isn't.
I think my spread looks impressive, but I'm actually just sort of grazing. Like we had a pretty good snack outside.
Yeah, you're like
so-
you were just sampling.
Yeah,
the
well,
thing.
you know, we're trying to figure out this cheese conundrum.
I have
But she's trying to help people, and this one's like judging the wines, and this one's like, we need more wine so I can put it in
More
my
of
purse.
everything,
Yeah.
I've learned
They
that
gave
things
me
that
wine.
come in skinny bottles
Okay.
like this don't
Yeah,
have
and you
anything
need more
for
wine.
it.
But
Put
I'm
it
like,
in
you
your
know, I
purse.
use
I'm not
utensils, like
wine
cut
as
the
I
thing, little bite-sized pieces, and then I eat them slowly.
She's just like shoveling.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of what's going on over here.
Yeah, but like, no, Jenny. I've learned that everything that comes in skinny little bottles, there's nothing.
So this isn't a
Like
proper.
Zebin is like, they didn't hear our order. They gave us juice.
So does Jose ever come back, or is he?
Yeah,
Oh,
he comes back.
they
It
drag him
takes,
back.
it takes a little bit. He's actually wearing new clothes.
Oh, nice.
That's where he comes back. He has like a shirt and some very simple pants.
You look
kept his
great.
boots,
Deep.
and then
Did he lose his hat?
yeah, he doesn't have his hat with him.
I got a hat.
Look at your friend's hat.
There you go.
He left. He's
Now
not
you have
friend.
No, I know.
We did kind of chase them off. They weren't playing the same way we.
No,
did.
these
I didn't
guys.
chase. I helped.
No, you know, I meant, you know, you did good.
These guys, no loyalty. No loyalty. He just like sits down into his chair, like looking.
But you have loyalty.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
We can help you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He was on the
Hey,
floor.
patch you up,
He was on the
we-
stand. I helped
Now
him.
you don't have to agree just because she stabbed you.
I know, but I
I'm
mean,
not going to stab him again.
You say that, but we don't know what the future holds.
Well, I mean, that's only going to happen if you betray us.
Hey.
and you make it without intending.
Maybe if he wishes to go a different path, that's fine.
No. I'm good. I don't. You know,
I know it's hard to say no to the current spread, but sometimes our fates are cast in a different direction. Just making sure. And like after a little bit of this shenanigans, I realized that this isn't a proper feast hall, nor
Right.
and this has been a decent feast. for what we've been after, but I'm like, I think we need to stop haranguing poor Rodrigo.
Yeah.
So I will be like, you know the best way to settle the cheese question. Cheesery.
Where do we find one?
Let's go. And like,
I know where one is.
fantastic. All right, so we start hiking
Do
up.
they have better alcohol?
Sometimes, yes.
I know where one that does it.
Secret stash.
Wonderful.
Secret stash.
Oh shit, it right now. What was his name? Andres. Andres!
We pick up Jose. I'm like, come on,
Come with
Jose.
us. The name is
I
Andres?
told you we have
Jose.
adopted our him.
He
Jose.
sort of raised. I think it's
No, it's
I think I heard her name first, so I
I thought
told
her name
her.
was Jose.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Not fucking Jose.
It's Andres. You told me.
His name is Jose now.
You guys are gonna gaslight the entire town until he becomes
We're just gonna
Jose,
tattoo Jose on his forehead.
including him, right? Like he's gonna argue with his own mom. He's like, no, mom, my name is Jose.
They told me that.
You're getting senile. My name is Jose.
It's just like,
Crying.
yeah, great job.
We literally brainwashed this poor man. He had his
Giving
whole
him new life.
he had his whole life ahead of him. We're like,
Well-
no. Throw that shit away.
Like, you are no longer Andres with your own future. You are Jose, and you hang out with us.
let me put it this way.
So we ruined 2 lives. We might have
Possibly.
saved 1.
You might have improved
Ruined.
2 lives. I
Ruined
mean,
the course of 2 lives.
to put things into perspective,
Redirected. I wouldn't say
I
We're
like
fucking
redirected.
saints.
Yeah.
this guy spent this entire
I mean, I must say
morning
something
being
right.
nervous about this potential hit. Then he sort of died. Then after that,
And
he
reborn.
got booze
The
and got
arms of two
patched up,
strange
and then
Norse
argued
people.
about cheese for a while, and then ate at one of the most famous restaurants in town. Like,
He got some seal's blood jelly.
yeah, his
Doctor tended to his wound.
his
A real
day
one?
made a sharp 180, and
Matushka has a plan for everyone, and we just need to fall into her hands. Everything will be great.
so this married
As we meander down the streets, forgetting all about the cheese shop, and I'm like, eat, and like I think it's late enough at this point that we all are like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good time to. This was evening. This was late, wasn't it?
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was a little bit later, yeah. So you're at this point, the sun has set.
Oh, geez, I have to go home because I have to urgently tomorrow.
You gotta wake up for work.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
remember that scary ass woman?
That's right.
Not scary. She's just
Passionate.
yes.
You're pretty convinced you work for a legit mummy.
Yeah, she's only up for 4 hours a day. And I have
Yeah.
to be there for those 4 hours.
She
or I
touch
don't
your
get my work
hands
done.
And it's not
to-
4 consecutive hours. It's like spurts.
There's naps in between.
Like I remember this. I'm like, oh no, that's important. Remembering your elders. Speaking of which, Jose, do you have somewhere you need to be?
Yeah, I should go back home.
Okay,
All the way home. Go back to your land. Go back to your dirt.
he might be here already.
Oh,
But this is not his dirt. Somewhere else in here is this his dirt.
Well, okay.
This is not much dirt at
You
all.
made it sound like a far, far journey. It might be round the corner.
Oh, I thought
He
you
has
guys
a long
adopted
journey
this
and his heart
she's
to
right.
make.
She's right. She's right.
Well, if you want to come hang out or whatever, we're over here at this place on the between the corner that we might have some odd jobs for you.
I teach you to skin a rabbit.
Right. You look very conflicted for a second. No,
Go home first.
I'll go home first.
You rest.
I'll be back though.
Feel.
I'll be back.
Yes.
Okay.
I promise. I'll be back.
Big hand clap.
And that's
Until
some,
next time.
some like, yes, busy day tomorrow, I'm sure, at least for some of us. Come on, it's just hurting.
Singing a jaunty tune.
As you arrive to the house,
That man did something.
he did a lot of things.
He did.
He did a lot of things today, but you were not there to watch him,
I
so you
know.
don't know what.
Damn it! It's like someone writing, I took it.
Yeah. As you step into the house, some
Oh,
things look different, but you're not sure quite which.
Ooh, you should totally roll.
Pulls out a
something.
knife.
What are you doing now?
Something's wrong.
What is
Things
wrong?
aren't the way they were.
No, because there's a butler who cleans things and moves them around.
Stop cleaning.
Well, I'm not doing it. Are you doing it?
He's snooping.
Whatever. You keep showing off all of your backpack. How could you snoop?
As you step
Put
in,
that away. Go to bed.
Augustina's head kind of comes out from the kitchen. It's like, oh, right on time. I made some food.
Oh, I could not eat
Okay.
another bite.
Okay.
She can eat
I
my
know
portion.
Sleep well.
Jimena's just like, yeah.
That's like several
Lots
things
of
of cheese.
Did at any point anybody debrief on what was discussed at the restaurant?
They probably like
Oh yeah,
it probably
should've
flipped
told
in and
you.
out as we
I'm gonna stay long enough to at least do that.
yeah, as we
Yeah.
fucked around, and it's like, oh,
Right.
I'm like, what's with the coin? I
Right.
was like, oh, okay, so, and yeah, I think at some point when we're not amidst the den, like, I'd be like, so does that mean we are casting our lot with this politic situation? Because I feel like continuing to do that is definitely narrowing our.
Well,
I feel like at the moment, at least, we just did a favor for them, so we have a favor back.
yeah, we didn't say we were going to join them. They just gave us this quest to get into the restaurant.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a restaurant?
No one explains it to her.
Just blank stares. Like,
Right.
Yes, it was a restaurant.
Okay. Okay. It's nice.
So yeah, I think after the fourth meal
Yeah.
from Augustina, yeah, we all just sort of roll into our respective beds because we're too fucking
You're tired
fat
from
and
eating.
sauced. Yeah.
You're tired from eating more than you're tired from your scuffle in the afternoon.
All of us keep talking like
You're hitting that point later in the evening where you're holding your glass and you're just sort of, sliding in your chair like at the table. You're turning into hut suddenly.
It takes a minute to stop and check our plans. Just a quick. Fuck yes. What?
My mom referred to herself as Douglas.
Wow.
oh,
I mean, at least she's self-aware a little bit.
Getting there, maybe.
could be a good stride. Anyway, cool. Yeah. So
Alright.
I think that's the end of the day's adventure.
There's the end of the day's adventure.
Yep.
And I think it's a good time to call it too, since you have more tasks to undertake.
Oh shit! Yeah, it was a full
I'm
list.
full.
This was
Yeah.
just one of four.
Plus, you now have information that suggests there might be a viper in your midst.
Yeah, because they weren't supposed. They shouldn't have known that we were taking it on the day we were taking it. I mean, they
If you
do
bring
have
this
a-
up during this discussion, Jenya has a very clear idea as to who it is.
I knew it!
Maybe
It was the only one that was with us.
Oh. Then you gotta follow. Tell her we did it, and tell her that somebody
It might be someone at her place.
knew. What?
We should send Jose.
We have a new friend.
Miss, I attacked your friend.
But they're my friends.
But
now.
they
Like
wanted
it's
to let you
happy, like,
know.
but I feel really bad about it.
And they
And
helped
like,
me out.
Yeah, and they wanted me to come
Yeah.
and tell you that.
She's gonna ask, it's like, who attacked them? Well, it was sort of me and
And some guy named Carlos.
some other guys. But I'm sorry I did it though. And then I apologized. And then we talked about cheese. And
Yeah. Do we have a courier or someone we can send off to her ladyship's place to be like?
not currently. I mean, you have the two house staff, but they're pretty much
We're hiring him, I guess.
We have a crow
That's right.
on hand.
I mean, how far did Jose get?
Not super far.
I might, yeah, if I go trump out and go, I'm like, Jose! Jose!
He actually comes out.
I said your name.
What?
If you have some time, I have a job for you.
Oh yeah, no, I have time. And like you hear him shut the door and you hear the shuffle. That is the telltale. I wasn't dressed. And now I'm, rushing to get that done.
I pull out a whale tooth that has like my scroll work on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it in his hand. I go, take these to the house of Salvador.
In the
Oh yes,
okay.
and let them know to let the lady of the house know that our task was completed this evening. And when they ask whose task, you hand them that. They'll know.
Okay, I'll do that. And he shuts the door.
And then come back to this house after you're done, so we know you're all good.
He shuts the door and then 5 seconds after just reopens it and it's like, do I go now or?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. I got you. He shuts the door again. You hear more of the shuffling behind it as he's gathering his things to go deliver your message.
So I go back home and I find Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, a young man will be around the house later this evening, probably within a half hour or hour or so. And I slide some gold over and I'm like, that is for his troubles. He will likely let us know that he completed his task.
He gathers the coin. He has it, monsieur.
Thank you very much.
I'm outside the plants. I can't.
Oh yeah, no, never. I never talk to him around you.
Right. Good thing you didn't see him.
That's right.
Get all in on
That's
it.
right.
All right. Any other actions you want to take
It's like
today?
I told
Really?
Jose
No.
to go tell.
I think I went to bed already.
I gave him my calling card.
You
so he
had-
knows it's us.
A pretty good food coma. You curl in your bed and it's like, oh yeah, no, I feel like a rock.
You're gonna have all the carbs. You're gonna have all the calories for tomorrow. Clack, clack, clack.
Right. Go to sleep with a 5-pound card rock in your stomach. Just sitting there. All right. Any other actions before we call this?
Peanut and gadget snack.
Never not eating? No.
No.
Never.
No. Fun was good.
ABE. Always be eating.
Yeah.
Fall asleep with just food right here. Then when you wake up, you
Basically,
just
she like
continue.
has it under her bed, so it's always there. If she wakes up, I'm like, oh.
So,
He's like
Oh, that's well.
crumbs.
yeah.
How can you sleep like this? It's fine. Like, oh, it's fine.
It's good for the skin.
Just roll it in.
Exfoliating.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
All right. We are done. No cliffhanger. Nothing blew up.
We could jump there, so we're-
So how do we have we decided how to do this point
Haven't
thing?
looked at that. But
But we have 3 games. So
I
that's
will
the thing.
by next session. So we'll have 3 games worth of old experience. We'll figure out what we do with that.
So
All I know is I earned 2 hero points this session. So,
That's right.
Technically, I think I don't know if it counts as a noble cause, because I get a hero point whenever I turn to sword play, but it's just for a noble cause.
Yeah.
nah.
think
All
it
my
really
shit is
counts.
about
It was just
being nice
self-defense,
to
yeah.
people and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
being alive for the
Mine's
party.
like, you just turn to sword play for a noble cause, change someone's life for the better through alchemy, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do any of that.
I changed someone's life for the better through words.
Well, you did not do it through alchemy, but you changed people's lives for the better.
A little bit hard to do.
Through unsuccessful stabbings.
Right.
Say goodnight, internet.
Good night, Internet.